Part 30. Dantian has a little field. Author, The Magic Orb Zoo. Chapter 291. You are so presumptuous, Liao Bing raised his eyebrows and scolded. You put 5, Lin Su said lightly. Liao Bing was extremely angry. She had grown up in Tiandao sect since she was a child. She was a genius. It only took a few hundred years for her to reach the state of early god transformation. She has always been favored among Tiandao section. Don't worry, other people don't dare to provoke Tiandao sect easily. When have they ever been so angry? What am I? Lin Su glanced at Liao Bing nonchalantly. What do you want to do by following me so sneakily? If you don't tell me, I'm going to leave. Damn that guy. Liao Bing stared at Lin Su fiercely, with fire almost coming out of her eyes. Rather than Lin Su's rude words to her, she cared more about Lin Su's indifferent eyes, which she found difficult to accept. Liao Bing was about to say something else, but Shi Donghua reached out to stop him and gave Liao Bing a comforting and apologetic look. Liao Bing could only glare at Lin Su reluctantly and turned his head to the other side angrily. Lin Su, I think you should also know our purpose. Talents like you are extremely valued by our Tiandao sect. We have only one purpose, and that is to invite you to join the Tiandao section. Shi Donghua, guarantee that you will get enough resources. And the best training. Shi Donghua put away his smile and said solemnly. You're quite honest. But you should know that I'm not interested in this. Lin Su smiled lightly. Lin, you don't know good from evil. It's your blessing that our Tiandao sect thinks highly of you. You. Liao Bing raised his eyebrows and shouted. Binger, shut up, Shi Donghua frowned and shouted. But. Liao Bing still wanted to refute. I said, shut up. Shi Donghua's tone became stern. If you continue to disobey me, go back to the teleportation hall first. Liao Bing's eyes were slightly red. Shi Donghua had never been so harsh to her before. The grievances in his heart turned into resentment towards Lin Su. Liao Bing glared at Lin Su fiercely, turned around and ran out of the dense forest of death. Go. Sorry, Binger's temper is like this, and her personality is a bit unruly. Don't mind. Seeing Liao Bing leave angrily, Shi Donghua shook his head helplessly, turned to look at Lin Su and said with a bitter smile. You're just a spoiled eldest lady, I won't care. Lin Su shook his head and said, okay, I think I have made it very clear that I have no interest in joining Tiandao section. I think you are a nice person, I don't want to do anything to you, just go away. Lin Su did have some appreciation for Shi Donghua. He was not as arrogant and ruthless as Chang Yu and Peng Gao of Xiushan Palace. Lin Su could feel this kind of frankness and forthrightness, especially those clear eyes, which were deceptive. Inhumane. Just because you don't agree now doesn't mean you won't agree in the future. Let's do this. I'll give you some time to think about it. The door of our Tiandao sect will always be open for you. When you think about it, come to me in the teleportation hall. These 300 I will be stationed there throughout the year. Originally, Shi Donghua had planned to take Lin Su away by force, but when he faced Lin Su, he decisively gave up the idea because he felt that Lin Su's cultivation level had reached the peak of the early stage of divine transformation is already on par with him. Lin Su was a guy who could single-handedly defeat Chang Yu and Peng Gao of Su Tian Palace when he first arrived in the spirit world. His combat power was so monster. Although Shi Donghua was also the best among Tiandao sect at the same level, he didn't think so. He will be Lin Su's opponent, even if Liao Bing is added. No, it's an intuition that cannot be expressed in words, so he drove Liao Bing away because he was worried that if Liao Bing's temper clashed with Lin Su, it would not only harm the relationship between Lin Su and Tiandao section relationship, and they might even suffer a loss. Since there was no chance of winning if he tried hard, Shi Donghua decided to change his strategy and take his time. First, he would leave a good impression on Lin Su and slowly convince him. If it didn't work once, he would do it twice. If it didn't work twice, he would do it 3 times. Even if Lin Su still didn't agree in the end, but a good relationship can always be formed. Shi Donghua feels that it is better to be a friend than an enemy to someone like Lin Su. Lin Su was a little surprised by Shi Donghua's answer. He thought that Tiandao sect would be like Xiushan Palace, being soft but not hard. He didn't expect that the other party was so easy to talk to. It seems that they are 2 major forces, but the gap is still obvious. This Shi Donghua is not bad. You can have good contact with him in the future. He has already offended the Xiushan Palace, so there is no need to offend the Tiandao sect to death. If all the people in Tiandao sect were like you, I might consider it. Lin Su had a smile on his face again. What is your name? Shi Donghua. Shi Donghua. What a good name, I will remember it. I will find you when I think about it. Before that, don't follow me anymore. Lin Su shook his finger and jumped into the bushes. In the bush, he was teleported away with a swish sound. Wait a minute, I have something else to say. Where is the person? Shi Donghua followed him into the bushes, but Lin Su's figure was gone, and even his aura disappeared without a trace. He was dumbfounded. After looking around, Shi Donghua couldn't even determine the direction from which Lin Su left. The space teleportation point set up by the Overlord Bear King was not that easy to discover. There was no teleportation talisman made from the bear hair of the Overlord Bear King. If so, it would be impossible to trigger the teleportation, and no abnormality could be seen. In Shi Donghua's opinion, didn't it mean that Lin Su ran deep into the jungle of death? This Lin Su is really not easy. It's interesting. With a playful smile on his face, Shi Donghua turned around and rushed out of the dense forest of death. Now he didn't know where Lin Su had gone, and he didn't dare to go deeper. After searching, this is the dense forest of death outside the Ghost Valley. Even the masters in the integration stage and the tribulation stage have fallen into it. What does his peak cultivation level in the early stage of divine transformation count? After escaping from the jungle of death, Shi Donghua saw Liao Bing standing outside the jungle at a glance. He couldn't help but smile, shook his head and walked up. Seeing Shi Donghua come out, Liao Bing was happy at first, and then put on a look of anger and hatred on his face, pretending not to see it. Shi Donghua was happy. Didn't I tell you to go back to the teleportation hall first? Why are you still here? Humph. Liao Bing snorted and said nothing. Okay, don't act like a young lady. Shi Donghua touched Liao Bing's head and coaxed, aren't I afraid that you will suffer from a fight with Lin Su? Humph. Am I afraid of that guy? He looks disgusting with his nostrils turned upward. I really want to teach him a lesson to see if he still dares to be so crazy, Liao Bing said bitterly. Bashu 69 New. Bing I'm afraid you have underestimated Lin Su. Shi Donghua shook his head and said, not to mention you, even I am not his opponent, and I even think that we may not be able to stabilize him if we attack together. One chip. Is that kid so powerful? Liao Bing opened his mouth in surprise. Shi Donghua's expression was very serious and he didn't look like he was joking. I'm afraid it's even more powerful than I thought. Shi Donghua nodded firmly. This is an intuition, and you know that my intuition is always very accurate. And I found that Lin Su's cultivation has reached the peak of the early stage of becoming a god. He is on par with me. Judging from his superior combat power when he defeated Chang Yu and Peng Gao, his current combat power is definitely better than mine. The peak of the early stage of divine transformation? How is this possible? How long has he been in the spirit world? Liao Bing's eyes widened. She did not carefully check Lin Su's true cultivation level just now. She only knew that it was in the early stage of divine transformation, but he didn't expect that he had reached the peak of the early stage of divine transformation. This speed of cultivation was extremely amazing even among Tiandao sect, except for those 2 perverted guys. That's why I don't want you to compete with him. Shi Donghua stroked Liao Bing's hair and said, Bing it's time for you and your temper to calm down. Not everyone will think that I will let you do this. Although your mission is to try to persuade Lin Su to join the sect, but even if you fail, you should try to befriend him. If you can be friends with such a monster, you will never be his enemy. You should understand. Okay, okay. Just listen to you, don't be as experienced as that guy, Liao Bing pouted. Call. I finally convinced this girl. Shi Donghua secretly breathed a sigh of relief, turned back and glanced in the direction of the death forest, with an inexplicable smile on his lips. Lin Su, we will meet again, I am waiting for you to change your mind. Husband, what took you so long? As soon as Lin Su appeared at the teleportation point, Zhou and the other girls gathered around them. It had been a while since they teleported to Long Island, but Lin Su didn't come over for so long. Something must have happened. It's not a big deal, it's just 2 tails thrown away, Lin Su briefly described the matter with a smile. Tiandao sect, why are they targeting you? Is it because you taught those 2 Xiushan temple monks a lesson? Zhou touched her chin and said softly. Who knows, Lin Su shrugged indifferently, it doesn't matter, they will never be able to find the space teleportation point anyway. It's not that easy to find here. The death forest and blood pool in front are enough to block any enemies in this world. Blood pool, everyone in the jungle of death has heard of it, but this is the first time they have heard of this blood pool. On the other side of the canyon beyond the lake, after passing through the dense forest of death, you will see that there is hidden the remnant soul of the blood demon master. His cultivation level has not yet reached the immortal level, but he is definitely not a person from the spiritual world. Can compete, Lin Su briefly described the situation of his passing through the blood pool, and also mentioned that the tyrant Bear King would set up a formation to trap the blood demon master's remnant soul in the blood pool and slowly draw out its power. Fortunately, Senior Xianxia is here, otherwise my husband, you would be in danger. Although they knew that Lin Su was fine, Zhou and the other girls still felt terrified after listening to Lin Su's narration. Okay, let's not talk about this. Anyway, just don't get close to the blood pool. Let's discuss how to arrange the mountain gate. When it came to arranging the mountain gate, everyone became excited and put forward their own opinions. Lin Su basically accepted them one by one. However, Lin Su couldn't decide for the moment about Fire Dragon Huo Yan's proposal because the other party proposed to protect the body. As the Zongda formation expands, it will cover at least half of the lake. Lin Su could understand this. After all, he was a dragon. Although he was a fire dragon, he was still used to living in the water. I want to ask Senior Xianxia for his opinion on this. After all, he has to arrange the sect protecting formation. If the sect protecting formation is expanded to the lake, the location of the space transfer point may also need to be changed. All these must be completed by the tyrant Bear King, so Lin Su naturally couldn't agree directly. Speaking of Lin Zi, you said that the linked yen space has been placed on the island as an inner gate. Where is it? Why don't we see anything? Zhang Yunfan asked. If it's so easy for you to find it, what's the point of hiding it? Lin Su rolled his eyes. The reason why the linked yen space is used as the inner gate is because of its concealment. Even if someone can break through the death forest and the blood pool, and then break through the sect protection formation to enter the Dragon Island, everyone can retreat into the inner gate. If the location of the linked yen space is so easy to be discovered, why do I have to go to so much trouble to set up the inner gate? Follow me. Leading everyone to the front of the Longjiao mountain wall, Lin Su stretched out his hand and wiped the mountain wall. A green light flashed, and the mountain wall seemed to become a water surface and ripple gently. Lin Su tilted his head to signal and led the way in. Huh? The spiritual energy of heaven and earth here is much richer. And, the spiritual energy of soul essence is much more abundant than outside, As soon as everyone entered the spiritual field space, they immediately found something different. Originally, in their impression, the spiritual energy of heaven and earth in the spiritual field space was not as abundant as it is now, and it was even inferior to Pingyang City, let alone the spiritual energy of soul essence. But now the spiritual energy of heaven and earth in the spiritual field space is not inferior to Dragon Island at all, and there is also soul essence spiritual energy. It is really surprising that there has been such a big change in just a few days. Oh, I absorbed the spiritual energy of heaven and earth from the outside world to increase the concentration of the spiritual energy here, but somehow it triggered the evolution of the spiritual field space, and my cultivation level was also raised to the peak of the early stage of transformation, Lin Su said lightly. Everyone was speechless for a while. What they said was that they somehow evolved and their cultivation level was improved. How could they feel embarrassed for those who worked hard to cultivate? Linzi, no one will break in here, right? Zhang Yunfan thought of a question. Before, the spiritual field space was inside Lin Su's body, but now it was set up on the mountain wall as an inner door. Zhang Yunfan couldn't help but worry that others would find out. This is my little world. No one can get in without the token I made. Lin Su smiled confidently, took out a few tokens made of purple jade and distributed them to everyone. Since he had this plan after listening to the words of Tyrant Bear King, he found time to make these entry tokens, so that when he was not there, everyone could use the tokens to enter and exit the spiritual field space. Dantian has a little field. Author, The Magic Orb Zoo. Chapter 292. The mountain gate was quickly built. Everyone was not an ordinary person. It was naturally not difficult to build the mountain gate. It was quickly built using local materials. The rocks on the Dragon Island were made of dragon bodies and were extremely tough. Even the Tyrant Bear King cannot destroy it, but the rocks on the edge of the lake can be used. According to everyone's suggestions, the entire outer door was divided into two areas, the dragon body part and the dragon head part. The concentration of heaven and earth spiritual energy in the dragon body part was slightly lower than that in the dragon head part. Lin Su planned to use it to practice and live as a new disciple. Place, as for the leading part, it is the place for their core and high-level activities. Of course, for the time being, there are no new disciples. The whole sect is just the core high-level people like them, so the dragon body part has basically not been built. The idea of Lin Su and others is to wait until there are real disciples to join. They design and build it themselves. Taiwan Novel Network Rightward Arrow. The sect protecting formation has also been set up. It has expanded a lot compared to the original one, including most of the lake. Naturally, the space transfer point has also changed its position accordingly. For this, Lin Su has to fight with Ba Tian. The Bear King said good things, and after paying for 2 more banquets, the Tyrant Bear King finally agreed to expand the sect protecting formation and change the location of the space teleportation point. The large formation used to trap the remnant soul of the Blood Demon Lord has also been set up in the land of Blood Pool. There are faint blood energy flowing from the formation along the earth veins into the protective sect formation, which greatly strengthens the power of the formation. Phew. As for the name of the sect, it was decided after everyone's brainstorming. They are now on Dragon Island in Ghost Valley, so they named it Dragon Valley. Perhaps it was stimulated by the sudden increase in Lin Su's cultivation. After the construction of the Dragon Valley's mountain gate was completed, everyone immersed themselves in cultivation. They practiced hard in the caves they opened, striving to catch up with Lin Su as soon as possible, at least not as soon as possible. He was pulled too far. 2 years later, seeing that everything in Long Island was on the right track, and Zi Zhouer and others had all broken through to the God transformation stage, Lin Su gathered everyone together and proposed his new plan. What? You want to join the Tiandao sect? Everyone's eyes widened in surprise when they heard Lin Su's plan to leave Long Valley and join the Tiandao sect, and they were very puzzled by Lin Su's idea. "We have established our own sect now, husband, why do you still want to join the Tiandao sect? Didn't you say you are not interested in this so-called big sect?" Zhou asked doubtfully. "It is precisely because we have our own sect now that I want to join Tiandao sect." Lin Su smiled and said, "Actually, we all know that although Dragon Valley is extremely hidden due to the terrain, there is no problem in self-protection, but it is precisely because of this that it limits development. It has a flaw in recruiting disciples and cannot absorb them. If there is new blood, the sect will not be able to develop just by relying on us. Although the spiritual energy of heaven and earth in Dragon Valley is abundant, if you only rely on the spiritual energy of heaven and earth for cultivation, how many people can successfully ascend to immortality?" Everyone was silent. They also knew that what Lin Su said was indeed true. A sect needs various talents and resources to develop. Although Longgu has enough spiritual energy of heaven and earth to build a sect, it only needs the spiritual energy of heaven and earth to develop. It is not enough, we also need all kinds of geniuses and treasures, and all kinds of scarce resources. The spiritual field in the spiritual field space can cultivate genius treasures, but it must have seeds or seedlings. Lin Su's current strength cannot create something out of nothing. The rarer the genius treasure, the more rare it is. Basically, it is in the hands of Xianxia Palace and Tiandao section. It is difficult for people who are not from their sect to obtain it. Our Dragon Valley is still in the initial stage. Compared with some small forces, we are far away from each other. If we all hide in the valley and work behind closed doors, our improvement will be very limited. Didn't Tiandao sect always want me to join? I will temporarily agree to their joining. Tiandao sect, use the power of Tiandao sect to obtain the resources needed for the development of Dragon Valley. Then Linzi, let me join the Tiandao sect with you, so that we can take care of each other. Zhang Yunfan thought for a while and said. No need, I can join alone. Lin Su shook his head and said, Yunfan, you are the strongest and smartest among everyone. When the time comes, you will be the intermediate link between me and everyone. It's up to you to pass on any good resources and news we get in Tiandao sect. Tiandao sect only values Lin Su now. Although Zhang Yunfan's cultivation level is not much lower than Lin Su, he cannot catch the eyes of Tiandao sect because when he ascended, only Lin Su was the only one and everyone else was in the spirit field space. In other words, only if Lin Su joins the Tiandao sect, he will be taken seriously and receive a lot of resources and key training. As for whether the Tiandao sect will accept others or not, it is still one thing. The matter was settled like this. Lin Su joined the Tiandao sect in his own name to collect resources for the development of Longgu. Zhang Yunfan acted as a bridge between Longgu and Lin Su, while the others worked hard to improve their cultivation in Longgu. As for Jade Rakshasa Shen Baiun, she is wandering around the spiritual world, looking for people who are qualified to join Dragon Valley. For this qualification, everyone agreed that we need to take the elite route. Cultivation is not necessary, but the potential must be high. Of course, the most important thing is character. Because of the special concealment of Dragon Valley, if a white-eyed wolf is recruited, then the entire Dragon Valley will be destroyed. The safety of the valley cannot be guaranteed. After arranging the Dragon Valley, Lin Su teleported out of the Death Forest and flew towards the teleportation hall. Shi Donghua said that he would be stationed in the teleportation hall for 300 years. Although he might encounter the guards of the Xianxia hall, Lin Su didn't care. At most, he would teach them a lesson. Anyway, he had decided to join the Tiandao section with the support of the Tiandao sect. What would he be afraid of the Xianxia temple? It's you. How did you get here? As soon as Lin Su entered the teleportation hall, a woman's exclamation came. It was Liao Bing from the Tiandao sect. In the teleportation hall, Zhang Yu and Peng Gao from the Xianxia temple, Shi Donghua and Liao Bing from the Tiandao sect each occupied one side of the hall. When they saw Lin Su walking into the hall, they all raised their heads. Unlike Liao Bing's reaction, Zhang Yu and Peng Gao were a little afraid in their surprise, and there was a hint of resentment, while Shi Donghua was surprised and had a hint of enlightenment. "I'm looking for Shi Donghua." Lin Su glanced at Liao Bing indifferently, then looked past him and looked at Shi Donghua behind him. He moved his feet around Liao Bing and walked towards Shi Donghua. "Brother Lin, have you made up your mind?" Shi Donghua looked at Lin Su, who walked up to him, sat down, picked up the wine glass and drank, and a smile flashed in his eyes. "I've made up my mind, so I came to find you." Lin Su smiled lightly. "Why, what you said before doesn't count." "It counts, of course it counts." Shi Donghua poured a glass of wine for Lin Su, with a smile on his face. "I said it a long time ago, the door of our Tiandao sect will always be open for you." Lin Su and Shi Donghua smiled at each other, and Liao Bing, who was standing aside, looked at the two of them like this. Her mouth was wide open and she seemed to understand why Shi Donghua stopped her from competing with Lin Su. Shi Donghua achieved his goal and was happy, but Zhang Yu and Peng Gao were so angry that their lungs were about to explode. What was going on? What did these mean? They tried to persuade him with kind words, but Lin Su refused without giving them face, and even injured them. As a result, Lin Su actually took the initiative to find Shi Donghua. It's so infuriating. Tiandao sect is a big sect, isn't our Xianxia temple? Why did they disdain our invitation, but agreed to Tiandao sect's invitation so readily? This is too bullying. Peng Gao, who had a hot temper, exploded on the spot. "Lin Su, don't go too far. Are you sick?" Lin Su's face sank, and he turned his head and squinted at Peng Gao. "If you have nothing to do and are anxious, the exit is over there. Turn left and there is a big waterfall 1 mile away. Go and sober up." "You," Peng Gao was furious, his face was as black as the bottom of a pot, and he pointed at Lin Su with trembling fingers and couldn't speak. "Lin Su, what is wrong with our Xianxia palace that you don't like? We sincerely invited you to join us, but you didn't agree. Why did you agree to the invitation of Tiandao sect? You must give us an explanation," Zhang Yu said coldly, with anger hidden in his voice. "Give you an explanation? Are you sure you are not talking nonsense? Why should I give you an explanation? It is my freedom to choose which sect to join. It is none of your business." With a sneer, Lin Su looked at Zhang Yu like a fool. "Lin Su, don't be too arrogant. My Xianxia palace is not something that anyone can provoke. Not agreeing to join you is provoking you. So this is the style of Xianxia palace." Lin Su narrowed his eyes. "Okay, if this is provoking, then I will really provoke you, so what?" As he said that, Lin Su winked at Shi Donghua. "Brother, I can now be considered a member of Tiandao sect, you have to support me." Shi Donghua couldn't help shaking his head and smiling bitterly. Lin Su was making himself hateful. "But I can't just ignore it. If I ignore it, this kid will turn around and leave when he gets angry, and I will lose a lot. Well, if I offend Xianxia palace, I will offend Xianxia palace. Anyway, Tiandao sect and Xianxia palace are not in harmony. It's worth it to offend Zhang Yu and Peng Gao for Lin Su, a genius with unlimited potential. What's more, Zhang Yu and Peng Gao can't represent Xianxia palace." With his mind racing, Shi Donghua made a decision and stood up with a laugh. "Brother Zhang, what you said is out of proportion. It is his freedom to choose which sect to join. Xianxia palace is a big sect that is as famous as our Tiandao section. It shouldn't be so narrow-minded, right?" "Humph. If he rejected your Tiandao sect, you wouldn't say that," Peng Gao snorted coldly. Shi Donghua glanced at Peng Gao and said with a smile, "My Tiandao sect has always convinced people with virtue. I will say this whether junior brother Lin joins my Tiandao sect or not. You're a fool to believe you." Zhang Yu and Peng Gao cursed in their hearts. Seeing Shi Donghua's smiling face, they were furious. However, the other party was from the Tiandao section. Xianxia Palace could not control the Tiandao sect, and Shi Donghua's cultivation strength was stronger than theirs. In addition, there was a more powerful Lin Su and Liao Bing. If they really started fighting, they would definitely suffer. With a cold snort, Zhang Yu and Peng Gao didn't say anything more. They just looked at Lin Su viciously with a look of wanting to eat people. Lin Su didn't care. If the look could kill, he didn't know how many times he would have died. Just stare, it won't get pregnant. Bing send a message to the sect and pass on the news that junior brother Lin agreed to join. Liao Bing walked out of the hall and sent a message to the Tiandao section. Shi Donghua glanced at Zhang Yu and Peng Gao, who were full of lividity, and stretched out his hand to Lin Su and smiled, "Junior brother Lin, follow me back to the sect." Watching Lin Su and Shi Donghua leave the hall and fly away, Zhang Yu could no longer hold back and fiercely overturned the wine table in front of him, leaving a mess on the ground. "Brother Lin, what should we do now?" Peng Gao gritted his teeth and said angrily. "What else can we do? Report the news to the hall master, and then go to Pingyang City with me to drink." Zhang Yu growled in a bad mood, and fiercely sent out a stream of qi, smashing all the wine and food in the hall into pieces, and strode out of the hall. The Tiandao sect is more than 1,000,000 miles away from the teleportation hall. Lin Su followed Shi Donghua and Liao Bing from Pingyang City to the Tiandao sect through more than 10 cities. Standing in front of the Tiandao sect's mountain gate, Lin Su looked at the towering sacred mountain in front of him, and his heart was deeply shocked, just like when he saw the floating mountain of the Sword God sect and the World Tree of the Elves. The sacred mountain where the Tiandao sect is located is really too big, no smaller than the World Tree of the Elves. Standing in front of the mountain gate, Lin Su felt a huge pressure coming towards him, and he unconsciously used the Dragon Yuan to resist. "Junior brother Lin, don't." Liao Bing frowned and wanted to remind Lin Su not to use his power to resist, because this is the test of the pressure from the Tiandao sect that all those who set foot in the Tiandao sect for the first time will suffer. People who don't know will subconsciously use their power to resist, but the result is that the pressure becomes greater and greater, and eventually they are pressed to vomit blood and faint. Doing nothing and letting this pressure come to you will not be hurt. After the initial discomfort, the pressure will quickly retreat. Don't talk. Let's take a look first. I also want to know how much potential this kid has. We will take action when he can't hold on. Shi Donghua stopped Liao Bing with a voice transmission. He knew that Lin Su's potential and strength were above him, but he didn't know how much stronger Lin Su was than him. It was just the right opportunity to take a look. Boom! The pressure hit Lin Su heavily. At first, Lin Su didn't feel uncomfortable. His strong body was enough to allow him to resist this level of pressure, although this pressure was the limit that most cultivators at the peak of the initial stage of the spiritualization could withstand. But soon Lin Su's face changed color, because he could clearly feel that the pressure acting on him was rapidly increasing. In a short time, it had increased several times. Even if he had already used the dragon essence, he still felt overwhelmed. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Dantian has a little field. Author, The Magic Orb Zoo. Chapter 293. Creak, creak, creak. The overwhelming pressure made Lin Su's bones begin to ring softly. He turned his head with difficulty and looked at Shi Donghua and Liao Bing beside him. He found that the two of them didn't feel anything at all. Instead, they looked at him with interest. He suddenly felt relieved. He understood that this was probably a prestige given to him by the other party, and he suddenly felt very angry. But under heavy pressure, Lin Su couldn't even express his anger now. He could only glare at Shi Donghua and the other two, and tried his best to use Long Yuan to resist the pressure. Lin Su was there struggling to support him. The Tiandao sect disciples who noticed this scene, including Shi Donghua and Liao Bing, all stared in shock. Who is this person? He has been under pressure for almost a quarter of an hour, right? The pressure of heaven's law is getting stronger and stronger. Where did this guy come from? He has persisted for such a long time and has almost caught up with those two. It seems that our Tiandao sect is going to have one more person. The pressure continued to increase. Lin Su had already mobilized all the dragon energy in his body to resist. The sound of the bones all over his body was already beating like a drum. His waist was already bent. He only felt pain all over his body and his eyes went black. I can't hold on anymore. Damn it, damn it. I can't bear it anymore. Under the super pressure, Lin Su could no longer maintain his human form. If he continued like this, he might return to the five-clawed golden dragon form before being knocked unconscious by the pressure. You can actually do it to this extent. This kid. Shi Donghua was so shocked that he didn't know what to say. He originally just wanted to test Lin Su's potential and strength, but he didn't expect that the other party had persisted for so long. Now he has already lasted the same amount of time as the two perverts in the sect. Brother Donghua, he can't hold on any longer. He won't hate us for doing this, right? After seeing Lin Su's demonic strength, Liao Bing couldn't help but panic. A demon like Lin Su, in the Tiandao sect, as you can imagine, if they hate them because of this incident, their life in Tiandao sect will not be easy. I have already sent a message to Lord Daozong. He will be fine. Shi Donghua also felt a little regretful now. He should have warned Lin Su earlier. Alas, I hope the other party is not so stingy. A faint golden green light began to emanate from Lin Su's body. His consciousness was already a little blurry and he could no longer control his body. He was about to transform into the five-clawed golden dragon body. Suddenly, the terrifying pressure dissipated like a tide. Go, as if it had never appeared before, Lin Su's body suddenly lightened, and the golden green light converged into his body. He felt that his whole body felt weak, and he almost sat down on the ground. As the pressure receded, a huge figure appeared in the sky. Its face seemed to be obscured by clouds and fog, and it was blurry. It was difficult to see its specific appearance. A voice like thunder rang out, "New disciple Lin Su, with outstanding talent and extraordinary potential, was judged to be super by the pressure test of heaven, and was granted the title of Son of Earth." When the huge figure appeared, all the members of the Tiandao sect, including Lin Su, felt that their whole bodies were imprisoned by an inexplicable force, as if their bodies were no longer their own, until a thunderous sound rang out and the huge figure disappeared. After that, everyone regained control of their bodies. Congratulations to junior brother Lin for being conferred the title of Son of Earth by the Taoist Master. From then on, his path to immortality is boundless. It's really enviable. Shi Donghua stepped forward and helped Lin Su up, with some apology on his face. I'm sorry, junior brother Lin, no. It should be Master Daizi. That was the pressure test of Heavenly Dao that everyone who first came to Tiandao sect had to undergo. It was used to test their potential. That's why I didn't tell you in advance. Please forgive me, Master Daizi. Brother Shi, why did you call me Mr. Daizi? Under Long Yuan's movement, Lin Su had recovered his strength. He was indeed a little angry about Shi Donghua and Liao Bing's concealment, but after thinking about it, he understood that if it hadn't been for what happened just now in the coercion test, he would not be granted the title of Earth Master. Although he did not know what the title of Earth Master represented, he thought his status in Tiandao sect should be high. Master Daizi doesn't know something. This is the honorable title of our Tiandao section. There are 3 people in total, namely the Son of Heaven, the Son of Dao and the Son of Earth. Only the Son of Heaven, who is far superior to his peers, can obtain it. The titles of Son of Heaven and Son of Dao have already been assigned to them. Only the position of Daizi has been vacant for many years. Lord Daizi, you showed enough potential in the coercive test just now, so Master Dao conferred the position of Daizi to you. Lord Daizi, the three major positions have their own palaces, and the cultivation resources they can enjoy are not comparable to those of ordinary monks. I hope you will give me more support in the future. After Shi Donghua finished speaking respectfully, he winked at Liao Bing and said, Bing why don't you take Mr. Daizi to the Dai Womb? Yes, senior brother Shi, Liao Bing understood, clasped his fists, nodded, stretched out his hand towards Lin Su and said, Lord Daizi, please follow me. Lord Daizi, I'm going to hand over the mission. I'll visit Lord Daizi later. Bing will take you to the Dai Wang to rest first. Shi Donghua cupped his hands towards Lin Su, turned around and swept towards the mountain road on the left. The earthly palace is halfway up the mountain, on the same floor as the heavenly palace and the Dao palace. Because the earthly palace has been idle for many years, the earthly palace seems relatively deserted. Only some guards and handymen saw Lin Su coming in with Liao Bing. All of them stared at Lin Su with eager eyes, their eyes full of reverence. Bing why are they looking at me with such strange eyes? Lin Su was a little confused by these fiery eyes, and couldn't help but send a voice message to Liao Bing to ask. It's like this, Lord Daizi, the position of Daizi has been vacant, so the guards in your palace are also vacant, with a total of 18 places. Liao Bing looked humble and obedient, and his previous savagery was gone, as obedient as a kitten. You mean everyone wants to be my guard? Seeing Liao Bing nodded, Lin Su smiled, 18 guards, a bit interesting. At the same time, Lin Su was a little depressed. If he had known that he would be named the Xianxia Daizi after entering the Tiandao sect, he would have brought Zhang Yunfan to join the Tiandao section. It would be a simple matter to arrange a guard for his brother. Well, this can be considered. Lord Daizi, this is your bedroom. Please take a rest first. Lord Daozong will summon you later. I will be waiting outside. If you need anything, please call me. Liao Bing glanced at Lin Su, who was lost in his fantasy, pulled the corner of her mouth with some disdain, and retreated. When Lin Su reacted, she had disappeared outside the palace. Hey, this little girl's attitude changed quite quickly. It seems that the status of Lord Daizi in Tiandao sect is indeed not low. Lin Su touched his chin and smiled. Joining Tiandao sect was a good move. Next, it is time to develop his own power in Tiandao section. He can't do everything by himself, right? The 18 guards is a good choice. As long as you can place some people loyal to you, it will be much more convenient to do things in the future. Well, Shi Donghua is a good candidate. He is smart and alert. Judging from his eyes just now, he obviously has some ideas about the quota of the 18 guards. As long as he is willing to listen to me, he can consider it. Of course, if Shi Donghua joins the 18 guards, Liao Bing must also join. With one spot left for Zhang Yunfan, there are still 15 spots left. You have to think carefully about who to give the remaining spots to. Lord Daizi, Lord Daozong summons you. Lin Su was considering the standards for the remaining 15 guards, when suddenly Shi Donghua's voice came from outside the hall. Lord Daozong, isn't he the huge figure that appeared in the sky? He also gave me the title of Daizi. What does he want to do by summoning me? To recruit me? Lin Su thought about a few things and walked out of the hall. Shi Donghua and Liao Bing were waiting outside the hall. Lord Daizi, Lord Daozong wants to see you, please follow me. Shi Donghua bowed to Lin Su and said. To be honest, he envied Lin Su very much. He was a master of the God transformation stage when he just ascended, and he reached the peak of the early stage of God transformation in just a few years. This talent is already enviable enough. Now he has just entered the Tiandao sect and has been favored by Lord Daozong. He has obtained the honorable title of Daizi. His future immortal path will be bright. Thank you. Lead the way. Lin Su smiled faintly and nodded, and followed Xidonghua and Liao Bing to the top of the sacred mountain. Daozong lives on the upper level of the sacred mountain. Its palace is on the same level as Tianzong. Unlike the dictatorship of the Hall Master of Xiushan Palace, Tiandao sect is a coexistence of two factions. Tianzong and Daozong co-govern Tiandao sect, and there is both cooperation and competition between them. Under Tianzong and Daozong are the four elders, and below them are the deacons of each section. This is not much different from the sects in the human world. The biggest difference from other sects is probably the honorable title of the three sons of heaven and earth Dao. The status of the three sons of heaven and earth in the Tiandao sect is below that of the Tianzong and Daozong, but above the four elders. They are the successor candidates of the Tianzong and Daozong. In other words, the next Tianzong and Daozong will be born from the three sons of heaven and earth. Originally, before Lin Su appeared, the Tiandao sect only had the son of heaven and the son of Dao. It was natural that the two would be the next Tianzong and Daozong, but the appearance of Lin Su, the son of earth, broke this balance. The Tianzong and Daozong will be born from him, the son of heaven and the son of Dao. Brother Lin, what do you mean? I want to compete with the son of heaven and the son of Dao for the honorable position of the Tianzong and Daozong. Lin Su glanced at Xidonghua, who was walking beside him, and a smile flashed in his eyes. It seemed that his guess was correct. Xidonghua really wanted to become one of his 18 guards, otherwise he would never show his goodwill to tell him these things like now, although this is not a secret in the Tiandao sect. As long as you spend some effort, you can find out. That's right, so Lord Daizi, you must establish your power in the sect as soon as possible, otherwise you will fall behind in the struggle. I believe that now the Emperor and Daozai must have heard that you were granted the position of the Emperor by Lord Daozong, Xidonghua said quite seriously. Lin Su pulled a sneer at the corner of his mouth. Xidonghua was expressing his loyalty to him. It's just that he really has no interest in the Tianzong and Daozong positions of the Tiandao section. If the Emperor and Daozai want them, just give them up. He just wants to use the power of the Tiandao sect to develop Longwu. He really has no interest in this boring struggle. Lord Daizi, some things can't be avoided just because you want to. People in the rivers and lakes can't help themselves. Xidonghua became anxious when he saw Lin Su's expression. Lin Su didn't have any intention of fighting, but what should he and Liao Bing do? Originally, he wanted to rely on Lin Su to become one of the 18 guards of Dzi. Then he would be able to obtain cultivation resources far beyond what he has now, and his power and status within the sect would also be greatly enhanced. When Lin Su becomes one of the Tian sect or Dao sect, he might also be able to compete for the position of one of the four elders. But this is all based on Lin Su gaining a foothold within the Tiandao sect and developing his own power. If Lin Su has no intention of fighting, how will people like him gain authority? If Lin Su fails to become the Tiandao sect or the Daozong, if the Emperor and Daozai succeed in ascending to power, then people like themselves will definitely be purged. No, you must give up this idea of Lin Su. Now that you have sat on the throne of earth, some things are not up to you. Under the persuasion of Xidonghua and Liao Bing, Lin Su frowned in distress. He just wanted to quietly develop Longwu with the help of Tiandaozong's resources, but according to what Xidonghua and Liao Bing said, if he doesn't fight with others, others may not let him go. If he doesn't fight, he won't have status, and if he doesn't fight, he won't get resources. Lord Daizi, in addition to establishing your own power, you also need a solid backer. I think Lord Daozong is the best choice. After all, your position of Daizi was bestowed by Lord Daozong. Now Daozong, it is very likely that Mr. Zong summoned you to express your determination. You must remember to make your attitude clear later, and you must not be vague. Judging from Lin Su's appearance, he must have listened to what he and Liao Bing said. Xidonghua was so determined that he even changed his title to subordinate, completely placing himself in the position of Lin Su's subordinate. Lin Su understood this in his heart. He patted Xidonghua's shoulder lightly and said, Donghua, my 18 guards are currently vacant. I wonder if you and Bing are interested. I'm interested, I'm so interested. Thank you for your appreciation, Shi Donghua was overjoyed. Didn't he spend so much time just to become the 18 guards and become Lin Su's confidant? Lin Su looked at Shi Donghua and Liao Bing, who looked excited and nodded with satisfaction. Seeing that they had arrived at the Daozong Palace, Lin Su pondered for a while and felt that it should be done sooner rather than later, so he handed over the matter of recruiting other guards. Shi Donghua and Liao Bing went to apply for it. Of course, there were only quotas for 15 people, and there was one quota reserved for Zhang Yunfan. Lin Su himself stepped into the Daozong Palace after revealing his identity. Dantian has a little field. Author, The Magic Orb Zoo. Chapter 294. It's strange. Isn't this Master Daozong going to summon me? Why is there no one there? Could he be entertaining me? There was no one in the main hall. Lin Su was walking in the empty main hall and felt strange when suddenly a voice with a slight echo rang out, "You are here. This sect has been waiting for you for a long time." It's that Daozong's voice. Lin Su suddenly raised his head and saw white light gathering on the throne in the center of the hall, and then a figure dressed in white appeared on the throne. This is a young monk with a handsome face. Of course, he just looks young. Lin Su knows that he is the Daozong of Tiandao section. He is a terrifying existence who has lived for who knows how many years. There seems to be a galaxy of disillusionment in his eyes, which makes people at first glance, you feel like you are about to fall deeply into it. After just one glance, Lin Su quickly looked away, screaming in his heart that it was terrible. He didn't know what kind of cultivation this Daozong was. Anyway, it was much more terrifying than the feeling given to him by Jade Rakshasa Shenbiun, at least. The cultivation level in the later stage of tribulation may even be the Mahayana stage or above. It is indeed one of the two sects of Tiandao sect. Lin Su has met Master Daozong. I wonder what he wants from me. Lin Su lowered his head and said respectfully. Lin Su, my sect has heard of your name a long time ago. You are the only genius in 10,000 years who has reached the stage of divine transformation just after ascending. You can withstand the pressure of heaven for more than a quarter of an hour. Your potential is very extraordinary. Daozong stared at Lin Su with piercing eyes, as if he could see through Lin Su with his penetrating gaze. Thank you, Lord Daozong. Lin Su pursed his lips. What on earth was Daozong thinking about praising him so much when they met? The so-called showing courtesy for nothing is a traitor or a thief, so it's better to be careful. The physical body is as powerful as a monster beast. No. Your physical body is a monster beast, and you are a royal dragon among monster beasts. Lin Su was surprised to feel that he was transparent in the eyes of the other party. This feeling was very similar to the first time he faced the Emperor of Yama, as if all the secrets could not be hidden. Seeing Lin Su looking at him in shock, Daozong smiled, "Don't worry, this sect doesn't care that you have a dragon body. As long as your soul is still a human, then you are a member of the human race. Don't you care about my dragon body? That's okay, I thought I would be regarded as a monster." Lin Su felt a little relieved, and at the same time he was secretly glad that he had placed the spiritual field space in the Dragon Valley. Otherwise, who knows whether this terrifying old monster would see it. Although Daozong's cultivation is definitely not as good as that of the Tyrant Bear King, the pressure it puts on Lin Su is much greater than that of the Tyrant Bear King. Lin Su, this sect will not beat around the bush with you. You are a rare talent. This sect appreciates you very much, so we will give you the position of earthly son. As long as you obey our words and be used by our sect, we will give you your best resources will be used to train you to become the successor of our sect. What do you think? Daozong said with a chuckle. It's so direct. Lin Su rolled his eyes secretly in his heart. Shi Donghua was indeed right. This Dao sect really wanted to recruit him. Should he agree or agree or agree? If you want to stay in Tiandao sect, you must not offend Dao section. You were given the position of earthly son by the other party. If the other party can give you the position, you can naturally take it back. Besides, as Shi Donghua said, you wanted to obtain enough resources from Tiandaozong to develop Dragon Valley. The higher the status, the better. This status not only depends on one's own efforts, but also requires the support of a backer, and this Daozong is indeed the best backer. How about it? Have you thought about it? Daozong's calm voice rang out, interrupting Lin Su's thinking. Master Daozong, I wonder what you need me to do. Lin Su knew very well that there is no free lunch in this world. If the other party wants to recruit him, he must have something that can be exploited. You are still too weak to help our sect now. You just need to practice with peace of mind and develop your power within the section. When the time comes, our sect will naturally let you know. Daozong waved his hand, and Lin Su knew who the other party was. I'm issuing an eviction order. As long as you can practice with peace of mind and develop your power, wouldn't you be a fool if you don't agree to such a good thing? As for what Daozong will ask him to do when the time comes, that's even simpler. If you can do it when the time comes, if it's too difficult, you'll have to give up your position and go back to Dragon Valley to practice peacefully. I think Dragon Valley should have enough resources to develop successfully by then. Bowing to Daozong, Lin Su turned around and walked out of the hall. Shi Donghua and Liao Bing were nowhere to be seen. He thought they were going to arrange the candidates for the 18 guards, so Lin Su walked towards his underground womb. By the way, it seems that my father-in-law and the Lord of Yamaluo Palace have also been admitted by Tiandao section. How could I have forgotten this? 2 of the 18 guards must be reserved for them. Returning to the underground palace in the side palace bedroom, Lin Su suddenly thought of such a problem. The title of Earthly Son came so suddenly, and for a moment he forgot about the matter of contacting Yewuji and Emperor Yama. 2 hours later, Shi Donghua and Liao Bing came back, with proud expressions on their faces. Your Excellency, the other 15 guards have been selected. They are absolutely loyal and reliable, and have good talents. Here is the list. Please take a look. Shi Donghua handed a jade slip to Lin. Asahi. Shi Donghua was very proud. He had been in Tiandao sect for so many years, but he had never been so powerful as today. Everyone looked flattering when facing him. The respectful and fawning look was really refreshing. The feeling of holding power was really good. Shi Donghua fell in love with this feeling. I'm relieved to do it. I'll leave the guard quota to you. I only have one request, that is, absolute loyalty to me and unconditional obedience to my orders. Lin Su didn't look at the jade slip. Anyway, in Tiandao sect, except for Shi Donghua and Liao Bing in front of him, the only people Lin Su knew were Yewuji, Yan Luo Tianzi and the terrifying old monster Dao's own lord. Throwing the jade slip back to Shi Donghua, Lin Su said calmly, delete 2 places from it, and add Yewuji and Yan Luo. Yewuji? Yan Luo? Aren't these the 2 geniuses who ascended more than 500 years ago? Lord Daizi, do you know them? Shi Donghua was delighted when he heard that Lin Su would give him full authority to take charge of the guards, but Lin Su's next words made him stunned. Well, we are friends. Lin Su glanced at Shi Donghua calmly. Why, is there any problem? No problem, of course no problem. Shi Donghua hurriedly shook his head. It turned out that Yewuji and Yan Luo were Lin Su's friends. It was normal to leave 2 guards for friends. Besides, apart from Yewuji and Yan Luo, there were 13 places that could be decided by himself, which showed that Lin Su still trusted and valued him. These 13 places were enough to gain considerable benefits for himself. By the way, Lin Su just said that the only requirement is absolute loyalty. After returning, the quota will be reviewed again. I would rather lose some benefits to meet this requirement. This is the first task Lin Su gave me. I must do it well. This is related to my future status in this Daizi Palace and even in the entire Tiandao sect. Shi Donghua and Liao Bing went out, and Lin Su asked them to find Ye Wuji and Yan Luo Tianzi. Although Ye Wuji and Yan Luo Tianzi are also rare geniuses, they have obtained a lot of cultivation resources after entering the sect and have cultivated to the god transformation stage. Yan Luo Tianzi has even reached the middle stage of god transformation, but such cultivation is nothing in the entire Tiandao sect, so the status of the two in the Tiandao sect is not too high. For the time being, neither the Tianzone nor the Dao sect has absorbed them into their factions. Hearing that the new Daiza Lord summoned them, Ye Wuji and Yan Luo Tianzi were quite puzzled. They didn't understand why the High Daiza Lord wanted to see them, but this puzzlement turned into surprise after seeing Lin Su. "Su'er, is that you? Are you the newly promoted Daiza?" Ye Wuji's eyes widened in disbelief, and Yan Luo Tianzi beside him also had a look of surprise on his face. Ye Wuji and Yan Luo Tianzi had been practicing hard since they entered Tiandao sect, and they had never seen the scene of Lin Su at the foot of the mountain. Although they heard that the newly promoted Daiza was named Lin Su, they did not expect that it would be the Lin Su they knew. The world is so big, and there are too many people with the same name. "Yes, it's me. Father-in-law, Lord Hall Master, after so many years, are you all right?" Lin Su smiled at Ye Wuji and Yan Luo Tianzi, his eyes full of admiration. As expected of father-in-law and Yan Luo Tianzi, their cultivation progress was not much slower than his own, especially Yan Luo Tianzi, the former number 1 master in Chaos Star Sea, and he was still as powerful as ever. He was already in the middle stage of the spiritualization, and his cultivation was definitely higher than his own. "Awesome. I really didn't expect that, Su'er. You actually became the Earth Son of the Heavenly Dao section. It's incredible." Yan Luo Tianzi looked at Lin Su with a smile on his face, and was deeply moved. The younger boy at that time actually came to the step and had left him far behind. Although he was temporarily ahead of Lin Su in cultivation, the other party was now the Earth Son of the Heavenly Dao sect, with plenty of cultivation resources, and would be fully cultivated by the section. It was only a matter of time before he surpassed him. "Su'er, great. I really didn't misjudge you." Compared with Yan Luo Tianzi, Ye Wuji was more delighted. After all, Lin Su was his son-in-law. With such a powerful son-in-law, Ye Wuji naturally had tolerance for him. "By the way, Su'er, how is Ping-er? Didn't she come to the spirit world with you?" Suddenly summoned by the newly promoted Lord Daiza, Ye Wuji and Emperor Yan Luo were surprised and asked a little. They learned that Lord Daiza was a top genius who had just ascended to the spirit world in recent years, and they also learned that only Lin Su ascended at that time. Lin Su did not tell Ye Wuji and Emperor Yan Luo about the spiritual field space, so they did not expect Ye Ping-er and others to come to the spirit world with Lin Su in the spiritual field space. "Father-in-law, this is exactly what I want to tell you next." Lin Su cast a spell to activate the formation of the bedroom. Without his permission, except for Tianzong and Daozong, no one else could enter the bedroom, let alone understand the situation in the palace. However, Lin Su was still not at ease. After laying a soundproof jade slip, he slowly narrated the matter of the spiritual field space and what happened after Ye Wuji and Emperor Yan Luo left the human world. "Damn it! Su Xianxia, that old bastard, dared to treat my spirit beast island like this. He deserves to die. Well done. This beast should be annihilated and die a miserable death. I never thought that Su'er would have such an experience. Hey, you have been hiding it from me for so long. Dragon Valley? You actually created a sect in Ghost Valley? Okay, that's great." As Lin Su narrated, Ye Wuji expressed his feelings from time to time. On the contrary, Emperor Yama looked at Lin Su with a complicated expression. From time to time, he looked at Ye Wuji with a hint of envy in his eyes. Unfortunately, he has no daughter, otherwise he would definitely marry Lin Su. Don't be too comfortable having such a son-in-law. "Su'er, do you mean to let us become one of the 18 guards, Emperor Yama reacted as soon as Lin Sugong mentioned that there were still 2 places for the 18 guards of the Earth Palace. Yes, that's what I planned. In addition to my father-in-law and the master of the palace, among the 18 guards, there is also my good brother Zhang Yunfan. In fact, my purpose of joining this Tiandao sect is just to gain better training. Resources: if you increase your strength faster and get more resources to develop Dragon Valley, you never expected to get the honor of the earth. But this is fine, the higher the status, the more advanced and spiritual things you can access. GeniusSpace can allow Longgu to obtain a large amount of resources in a short period of time, and Ping'er's cultivation speed should not be weaker than that of Tiandao sect's monks. When Lin Su said this, he glanced at Yewuji and Emperor Yama, and said sincerely, "Father-in-law, Palace Master, I have just arrived at Tiandao sect, and I am not familiar with many places. I really hope to get your help. Sewer, this is the spiritual world and not the chaotic sea of stars, so don't call me Palace Master. If you don't mind, just call me Uncle Yan, Emperor Yama." No, he should be called Yama now. The title of Emperor is in the spirit world. Only one of the 3 sons of Tiandao of Tiandao sect is qualified to bear the world. Uncle Yan, Lin Su was not polite. Times have changed, and the names he calls naturally change accordingly. What's more, calling him Uncle Yan seems more cordial. "Sewer, what you said is obvious. If we don't help you, who will we help?" Yewuji laughed. "What's more, the treatment of the guards here is much better than that of ordinary people. This kind of how can we refuse such a good thing?" "You think so, Lao Yan?" "That's right," Yan Luo nodded with a smile. Dantian has a little field. Author, The Magic Orb Zoo. Chapter 295. Yewuji and Yan Luo were assigned to the 18 guards, and they also became one of the elders of Dragon Valley. However, before Dragon Valley was fully developed, they had to stay in Tiandao sect like Lin Su, and try their best to improve their cultivation and collect various cultivation resources. After discussing with Yewuji, Lin Su took them away from Tiandao section. Tiandao sect had a rule that new disciples could not leave the sect within 100 years, but this did not include the position of the Son of Earth. No one dared to stop Lin Su from leaving, except Tianzong and Daozong, but Tianzong and Daozong would obviously not embarrass Lin Su, the Son of Earth, for such a small matter. Shi Donghua originally wanted to go with Lin Su to show his loyalty, but how could Lin Su take him to Dragon Valley? So he used the excuse of asking him to deal with the matter of the 18 guards to let him stay in Tiandao sect happily. Taiwan Novel Network Rightward arrow. After several teleportations to Pingyang City, Lin Su and the other 2 rushed non-stop towards the Death Forest. When they arrived at the entrance of the forest, Lin Su and Yan Luo suddenly stopped at the same time. "Sewer, brother Yan, what's wrong?" Yewuji was a little surprised. "There are tails," Lin Su said. "2, Yan Luo Tianzi added. The 2 smiled at each other, and Lin Su secretly sighed in his heart, worthy of being the lord of Yan Luo Palace. This spiritual perception and anti-tracking ability are indeed extraordinary. In comparison, Yewuji, the father-in-law, is much inferior. Who dares to follow us? Let me catch them." After Lin Su and Yan Luo reminded him, Yewuji also realized that someone was following him, and a flash of anger flashed across his face, and he said fiercely, "Don't. Father-in-law, you don't need to do anything. I have a way to make them suffer a great loss." Lin Su hurriedly stopped him. He had already noticed who was following them. Wasn't that familiar breath Zhang Yu and Peng Gao from Xiushan Palace? Okay, then listen to Sewer. Seeing Lin Su's smirk, Yewuji couldn't help but sweat for the 2 people following him. Basically, no one who offended Lin Su would have a good end. This kid is now a bad boy. The 3 of them entered the dense forest as if nothing had happened. Behind the earth slope in the distance, Zhang Yu and Peng Gao carefully poked their heads out. "Brother Zhang, we won't be discovered," Right, Peng Gao said a little anxiously. He was really scared when Lin Su and the other two suddenly stopped just now, especially Lin Su's seemingly unintentional glance back made him and Zhang Yu scared enough. They thought they were discovered and almost turned around and fled. Shouldn't they? If they really found us, they would have rushed up long ago. Zhang Yu shook his head. Apart from Lin Su, the other two were no less skilled and powerful than them. If they really fought, they would only be trampled. They've entered the forest. Let's hurry up and follow them, or we'll lose them, Zhang Yu said as he stretched out his body and rushed towards the death forest. Strange, why did Lin Su run to the death forest? After mumbling a few words, Peng Gao also followed into the death forest. There, as soon as Zhang Yu and Peng Gao entered the death forest, they saw Lin Su and the other two leap into a bush at the corner in front. They hurriedly followed them, but the three of them were nowhere to be seen. Where are they? Where did they run to? Zhang Yu and the other two were dumbfounded. Lin Su and the other two seemed to have disappeared out of thin air, and their breath stopped abruptly at this point. Brother Zhang, look over there. Zhang Yu looked in the direction of Peng Gao's finger, and saw traces of people passing through the grass and trees ahead. His pupils shrank immediately. It turned out that they went in that direction, but it seemed to be the direction leading to the depths of the death forest. Why are they running to the depths of the death forest? Aren't they afraid of death? Zhang Yu's face was full of doubts and hesitation. Brother Zhang, what should we do now? Should we follow them? Peng Gao swallowed his saliva. They had all heard about the horror of the death forest. The danger outside the Ghost Valley, one of the 7 Jedi, was not a joke. I don't know how many monks with more profound strength than them were buried in the depths of the death forest. Follow them and see. I don't believe they are not afraid of death. There must be some secret here. If we can find it, we can go back and report it. Zhang Yu gritted his teeth. Because of Lin Su's matter, they were scolded by the sect's high-level officials. It was not easy to find out Lin Su's secret. Such a good opportunity to make a comeback could not be missed. After half an incense stick, a scream that was not human voice came from the depths of the dense forest, and it lasted for a long time. At the Dragon Valley space teleportation point, a white light flashed, and 3 figures appeared swish, which were Lin Su, Yewuji and Yan Luo. Sewer, you just made those traces, are you trying to lead the people following behind to the front? Yewuji asked. At the moment when the teleportation was activated, Lin Su shot out a stream of energy in the direction of the death forest in front, creating a road that seemed to have left traces when someone passed by. If the people following behind didn't know that they had teleported away, they would probably think that they left from that road. Father-in-law is wise, he. I just want them to think so, Lin Su said with a sly smile. Now it depends on what they choose. If they continue to follow, what they will encounter is not something I can predict. Yan Luo wiped the cold sweat from his forehead. Lin Su was becoming more and more sinister. How could such a pure child become like this? However, Yan Luo had to admit that such a character was obviously more suitable for survival in the immortal path. Fortunately, he and this boy with a deep affinity were friends rather than enemies. Because Lin Su had already described long before, Yewuji and Yan Luo were not too surprised. Instead, Ye Ping'er seemed very excited. When she saw Yewuji, she threw herself into his arms and cried. Except for the bald man Tianyuan and Len Lingyu, the rest of the people had only heard of Yewuji and Yan Luo from Lin Su, but they were all like-minded people. After the initial unfamiliarity, they quickly became familiar with each other. Husband, didn't you go to Tiandao sect? Why did you come back so soon, and brought your father back with you? Ye Ping'er had regained her composure. At this moment, everyone was sitting cross-legged in the spiritual field space. Ye Ping'er asked with a smile. As soon as Ye Ping'er said this, everyone turned their eyes to Lin Su. They had also heard about the rules of Tiandao section. Didn't they say that new disciples were not allowed to leave the sect within 100 years? I have been to Tiandao sect, and I have gained something unexpected. Lin Su smiled lightly, and narrated with a little pride that he was granted the title of Daizazun by Dao sect and the 18 guards. Everyone was speechless for a while. This is really a case of comparing goods and throwing them away, and comparing people and dying. Looking at Lin Su's smug look, Zizuir and the other girls naturally had a lot of brilliance in their eyes, while Zhang Yunfan, the bald man Tianyuan and the others were full of envy and jealousy. Of course, envy is envy, and everyone knows that the higher Lin Su's status in Tiandao sect, the more cultivation resources he can get, and the faster Dragon Valley can develop. Now the interests of a group of people are completely tied to Lin Su. Linzi, do you want me to join Tiandao sect and become one of the 18 guards? Then why not everyone join? Zhang Yunfan was slightly surprised after hearing Lin Su's plan. I have made this arrangement after careful consideration. Lin Su looked at everyone, coughed lightly and explained, if too many people join Tiandao sect, the target will be too big. Once something unexpected happens, it will be difficult to retreat unscathed. It is enough to have Yunfan join. It is better for others to stay in Longgu to practice. After all, Longgu is our foundation. Lin Su's words made sense, and everyone stopped entangled in this issue. As a land child, Lin Su is naturally not convenient to run away all the time. After this time, he will probably have to stay in Tiandao sect for a long time to develop his power at ease. The cultivation resources obtained will depend on Zhang Yunfan to transport them out and bring them back to Longgu under the name of a guard. Anyway, the Earth Spirit Pig stayed in Longgu. As Lin Su's contracted beast, it can also use some basic functions of the spiritual field space. At that time, the resources brought back by Zhang Yunfan will be cultivated by the Earth Spirit Pig. In order to avoid more trouble, after explaining the matter clearly, Lin Su took Zhang Yunfan back to Tiandao sect first. As for Yewuji and Yan Luo, they were already old members of Tiandao sect, so it didn't matter if they stayed outside for a while. With the recommendation of Lin Su, the son of the earth, Zhang Yunfan's joining Tiandao sect went smoothly. Moreover, Zhang Yunfan himself was a cultivator with pure yang body and heavenly spirit roots. This kind of talent was also extraordinary in the entire Tiandao sect, so no one dared to express dissatisfaction with him becoming a guard of the son of the earth. Shi Donghua had already selected the final quota of the 18 guards. Lin Su asked him to gather everyone and take a look. Among them, the lowest cultivation level was the early stage of the transformation of the spirit, and the highest was the early stage of the fusion. According to Shi Donghua, they were all people with outstanding talents in the sect but were not valued for various reasons. Their loyalty was absolutely no problem. Lin Su didn't find anything wrong with the guard selected by Shi Donghua at first glance, so he didn't raise any objections, which showed his trust in Shi Donghua. Besides, isn't there a saying that a horse's strength can only be known after a long journey, and a person's heart can only be known after a long time? Whether these guards are suitable and how loyal they are can be known after a period of trial, and the unsuitable ones can be replaced at that time. Things are on the right track. Lin Su basically does not leave the palace of the earth and stays in the palace to practice. His current cultivation is still too low. Although his status is respected, he still has to rely on his own strength in many cases. As a son of the earth, the cultivation resources he can get are naturally not available to other cultivators, including elixirs that can quickly improve his cultivation, various kinds of genius treasures, and endless spiritual stones. Dao Zone even gave Lin Su a spiritual sword of the upper grade spiritual weapon level. As for the techniques, Tiandao sect does have quite a few high-level techniques, and Lin Su's status and position allow him to access most of them. However, Lin Su already has a super-level technique like Xiantian Hualongju, so he naturally looks down on these techniques. However, just because he can't use them doesn't mean that others can't use them either. Zizuir and others don't have any techniques for practicing after the spiritual transformation stage. Lin Su selected the corresponding high-level techniques based on the attributes of everyone and the nature of the techniques they had practiced before, and asked Zhang Yunfan to take them back to Dragon Valley together with most of the training resources they had obtained to distribute to everyone. As for Zhang Yunfan, Ye Wuji and Yan Luo, Lin Su didn't need to worry about them at all. As the guards of the earthly palace, the training resources they obtained were second only to Lin Su. With the large amount of skills and resources that Lin Su got from Tiandao sect, Long developed rapidly at a very fast speed, and established outer sects in several cities to recruit disciples. Because of the secret support of Lin Su, the son of Tiandao sect, this move did not encounter much resistance. After all, many small sects are attached to the two major sects of Xuetian Palace and Tiandao sect, which is no longer surprising in the spiritual world. The disciples recruited by the major cities could not enter Longdao at the beginning, and had to go through many tests. Only disciples with superior talents, efforts, and character were qualified to enter Longdao for cultivation, and only disciples who entered Longdao were the real core disciples of Longwu. Everything developed in an orderly manner according to plan, and Lin Su was surprisingly smooth in Tiandao section. He originally thought that with such a competitor, the two perverted monsters of Tiandao sect, Tianzi and Daozai, would cause trouble for him, but he did not expect that the other party had no intention of finding trouble at all, and even did not meet Lin Su. Perhaps in the eyes of the Emperor and the Dao, Lin Su is not enough to pose a threat to them. After all, according to Shi Donghua, both the Emperor and the Dao have reached the late stage of the fusion, and they are only one step away from reaching the stage of the tribulation. Lin Su's strength is really not taken seriously by these two. The longer Lin Su stayed in the Tiandao sect, the more he felt the huge gap between Longwu and the Tiandao sect in terms of foundation. Except for the Tyrant Bear King and the Jade Rakshasa Shen Baiun, the strength of other people in Longwu, including Lin Su, was not up to par. The Tiandao sect is divided into two factions, and there is no such thing as a supreme elder. The two strongest people are Tianzong and Daozong. Both of them are in the late stage of the Mahayana. The reason why they have been stranded in the spirit world and have not ascended is because of the blinding effect of the Tiandao Divine Mountain on the secrets of heaven. It can be said that although the current cultivation of the two is in the late stage of the Mahayana, their real strength has already reached the fairy level. Of course, not everyone is qualified to use the ability of the heavenly Dao Divine Mountain to conceal the secrets of heaven. Only the Tianzong and Daozong in the entire Tiandao sect can use it. Although some of the other four elders have reached the Mahayana stage, they are real Mahayana stages and naturally do not have the strength of the Tianzong and Daozong. Ever since knowing the true strength of Daozong, Lin Su was very puzzled by Daozong's actions of valuing and cultivating him so much. The other party has reached such a level, so what else does he need his help with? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Dantian has a little field. Author, The Magic Orb Zoo. Chapter 296. There is no time in cultivating immortals, especially when everything is developing steadily. It is even more difficult to notice the passage of time. In the blink of an eye, more than 600 years have passed. Lin Su's cultivation has been raised to the middle stage of the fusion, and this is already under the condition that he has tried his best to suppress it. Tyrant Bear King told Lin Su that if he reaches his limit and then breaks through, he can stimulate his potential to the maximum extent, and have the strongest combat power that can be achieved under the same realm. More than 600 years from the peak of the early stage of the transformation to the middle stage of the fusion, this is already a very incredible speed in the eyes of others, but it is nothing for Lin Su. After all, he has received the training of the Earth-Sun level, so many precious resources, more than 500 years, even a pig can be promoted to this realm. Compared with Lin Su, Zhang Yunfan's cultivation has been improved more, and he has surpassed Lin Su to reach the great perfection of the late stage of the fusion, and may break through to the tribulation period at any time. The advantage of the heavenly spiritual root cultivator in cultivation is undoubtedly revealed. Yan Luo's cultivation is comparable to Zhang Yunfan's, reaching the state of great perfection in the late stage of fusion. The cultivation of others has also made great progress, at least reaching the early stage of fusion, and most of them are in the middle stage of fusion like Lin Su. Dragon Valley has begun to take shape, with thousands of disciples and more than 100 core disciples. Compared with top sects such as Xianxia Palace and Tiandao sect, which have tens of thousands of disciples and thousands of core disciples, there is a big gap in the number and quality of disciples, but it is already very good for other small forces. Dragon Valley is different from other sections. Only core disciples can enter the Dragon Island in Ghost Valley, so the assessment and identification of core disciples must be quite strict. In addition to potential and strength, character is particularly important. That is why it takes an average of 6 years to determine a core disciple. The bald man and others also proposed whether to relax the restrictions on core disciples appropriately, but Lin Su firmly rejected this proposal. The core disciples of Longgu can really get in touch with the secrets of Longgu. If the secrets of Longgu are leaked out due to bad character, it is impossible to estimate how much loss will be caused to Longgu. In the past 600 years, Tianzi and Daizai have never troubled Lin Su. Everything went so smoothly that Lin Su almost forgot the competitive relationship between the three sons of Tiandi Dao. However, what is coming will come eventually, and it is always when you least expect it. The competition for the quota of Dao Tower, what is that? Lin Su frowned in confusion when listening to Shi Donghua's report. Although he has been in Tiandao sect for 600 years, Lin Su's time is basically used to collect resources and practice. He has not explored the secrets of Tiandao sect too much, so he is still not as good as Shi Donghua in terms of information. You know, sir, that cultivators begin to comprehend the great Dao of heaven and earth from the stage of transformation, and complete their own understanding of the great Dao when they pass through the 99 tribulations at the end of the stage of tribulation. The Dao Tower is the divine tower that our Tiandao sect helps elite disciples in the sect comprehend the great Dao of heaven and earth. It is said that this is a sacred artifact obtained from the chaos of the immortal world, and later it was obtained by the founder of our Tiandao section. It is the basis for our Tiandao sect to stand on equal footing with the Xianxia Palace and stand firm in the spiritual world. However, as a sacred artifact, the price to open the Dao Tower is huge. Even with the strength of our Tiandao sect, it can only be opened once every 1,000 years, and there are only 10 people who can enter it each time, Shi Donghua exclaimed with expectation. Help comprehend the great Dao of heaven and earth? Is it very effective? Lin Su raised his eyebrows. More than effective. If you can enter the Dao Tower, you can at least improve your understanding of the great Dao of heaven and earth by several times. Shi Donghua was full of amazement and longing. Oh, Lin Su became interested. From the stage of transformation of spirit, the combat power of the cultivator is proportional to the perception of the great Dao of heaven and earth. The free great Dao of heaven and earth in the spiritual energy of the spiritual world is too thin. It is extremely difficult to perceive and form a complete great Dao of oneself. If the Dao Tower is really as effective as Shi Donghua said, then he really can't miss it. You said there are only 10 places to enter this Dao Tower? How is this quota defined? Reporting to the adults, these 10 places are produced by competition among the three sons of the Dao of heaven and earth and their guards. Competition? How to compete? The son of heaven and the son of Dao and their guards should all be in the stage of crossing the tribulation, right? How can we compete with them? Lin Su frowned. The gap between the stage of fusion and the stage of crossing the tribulation is not like the previous realm. There is almost no possibility of a cross-level challenge. With their current stage of fusion, competing with the two sons of the Dao of heaven and their guards in the stage of crossing the tribulation, it seems to be a joke. That's right, Lord Tianzi, Lord Daizai and their guards are all at the crossing tribulation stage, but when they compete, they can only use the power of the fusion stage at most, which means that everyone is competing at the same level of cultivation, but Shi Donghua's face turned bitter. Although both parties will be at the same level of cultivation when competing, the crossing tribulation stage's understanding of the great Dao of heaven and earth and the use of power are not comparable to the fusion stage cultivators. Even if both parties' cultivation is controlled at the same level, I'm afraid they will lose more than they win. Lin Su's feelings are completely different from Shi Donghua's. Hearing this, his eyes lit up. If they are really at the same level of cultivation, he is not afraid of anyone, even the extremely evil and perverted Xianxia and Daizai in the legend. This is a belief that he is invincible at the same level. Sir, are you not worried at all? Seeing that Lin Su's expression did not change, Shi Donghua asked cautiously. Lin Su had never made a move since he joined Tiandao sect, and Shi Donghua didn't know what his combat power was now. Level. Why should you worry? Worrying is useful. Lin Su glanced at Shi Donghua and said, if you have that much time, you might as well think more about how to use your combat power. It seems that Mr. Daizai is very confident. A hint of joy flashed in Shi Donghua's eyes. Basically, the places for the three sons of heaven and earth to enter the Tao Tower are considered guaranteed. If they can't even beat the guards at the same level of cultivation, then what qualifications do they have to become one of the three sons? The reason why Shi Donghua mentioned the Tao Pagoda quota competition to Lin Su in advance was to see Lin Su's reaction. If Lin Su himself didn't have much confidence, then he would give up and just practice peacefully. In order to avoid being embarrassed in vain, but now it seems that the situation is not bad. Suppressing the secret joy in his heart, Shi Donghua considered and said, Sir, of course you are not afraid. Except for Lord Tianzi and Lord Daizai, no one in Tiandao sect with the same level of cultivation can be your opponent. As he spoke, Shi Donghua peeked at Lin Su's expression and saw that although Lin Su's expression remained unchanged, there was still a hint of joy in his eyes. He was secretly happy and said in a different tone, but my subordinates don't have much confidence. After all, I can't compare with you, sir. There is no weak person who becomes the Sanzi Conway. If we compete with the Tenzi Kono and Daizai Conway with our current strength, we will lose 9 times out of 10. It doesn't matter if we lose. At most, we will lose the qualification to enter the Dao Tower, but it would be a serious crime to disgrace you, my lord. Lin Su was not a fool. How could he not understand what Shi Donghua meant? It was obvious that he was asking for help while showing his loyalty. But what Shi Donghua said is right. As his own guards, if they perform too poorly, they will really be embarrassed. In the past, Lin Su could not care about his face, but now he can't. Now he is not only a god of heaven. The son of the sect is also the owner of Dragon Valley. If he loses face in the fight for the Dao Tower, then his position in the Tiandao sect will definitely plummet, and the entire Earth Palace people will be unable to hold their heads up. The resources and interests that originally belonged to the Earth Palace will naturally be lost to others. Divided thinly. As the resources obtained from Tiandaozong decrease, the resources provided to Long will also decrease accordingly. The consequence will naturally be that the development speed of Long will be dragged down and slowed down. Lin Su cannot afford the series of consequences. Therefore, Lin Su couldn't afford to lose face, and he couldn't afford to lose this time in the competition for Tao Tower quota for the Earth Womb. Okay, don't look like a resentful woman. Did I say I don't care about you? Rolling his eyes, Lin Su flicked a jade slip into Shi Donghua's hand. This is a weapon that can greatly unleash its potential. Practice the secret method of combat power, and don't disgrace me when the time comes. Shi Donghua was overjoyed and hurriedly carefully collected the jade slips. His face almost burst into laughter and he said repeatedly, "Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Don't worry, sir. My subordinates will practice diligently and will never give it to you. Shame on you." Call Zhang Yunfan, Ye Wuji and Yan Luo. Let's go. Lin Su waved his hand, Shi Donghua bowed and retreated, and not long after, Zhang Yunfan and the other three walked in. Lin Zi, why are you here in such a hurry? Zhang Yunfan waved his hand and activated the formation of the Earth Palace and asked with a smile. It's like this. Lin Su informed Zhang Yunfan and the others about the competition for spots in the Dao Tower, but found that the three of them were not surprised at all. What kind of expressions do you have? Could it be that you already knew it? Lin Su curled his lips. Of course, this is not a secret within the section. Of course I have known about it for a long time. Zhang Yunfan chuckled and said, I'm not telling you, Lin Zi, you should have a proper understanding of the situation in the sect sometimes. I don't have as much free time as you. Lin Su rolled his eyes angrily and said, so it seems that you are very confident in the competition for the tower quota, or do you mean that you don't care at all and didn't enter at all? Tower's plan. How is it possible? Zhang Yunfan shouted, how can we give up such an opportunity to speed up our understanding of the great ways of heaven and earth? That's right, Su'er, this kind of opportunity is quite rare, and I don't want to miss it. Ye Wuji also nodded. As for Yan Luo, he was silent as always, but the flash in his eyes showed that he was also interested in the Tao Tower quota. Determined to win. You are so confident. Lin Su knew that Zhang Yunfan and the other three were not ordinary people, but those who could become the Emperor's guards and the Taoists' guards were probably not the same generation, not to mention that others were already in the tribulation stage. The understanding and practical experience of the great way of heaven and earth already have considerable advantages compared to the cultivation level in the integration period. Where did Zhang Yunfan and the others come from such confidence? I'm not completely sure, but Linzi, don't forget that you are not the only genius. Brother, I also have the strength to challenge the next level. If they are still at the level of the tribulation stage, I will still be wary of them. They are both in the same body. Brother, I won't lose to anyone. Zhang Yunfan looked arrogant. Seeing Lin Su looking at him with amusement, he added in a low voice, of course, not including this perverted guy like you. Whether you can beat him or not, you won't know until he fights. Yan Luo raised his head and said coldly. Su'er, perhaps the strength of the Emperor's guards and Daozai's guards is indeed very strong. Even so, we can't lose confidence in ourselves, otherwise, once our own momentum is lost, even if we have 10 points of strength, we may only be able to exert 8 points, right? Ye Wuji looked at Lin Su and smiled. Father-in-law is right, I have learned my lesson. Lin Su's face was straight, and he bowed to Ye Wuji respectfully. Indeed, in terms of strength and potential, Ye Wuji was far inferior to him, but the other party's life experience, combat experience, and this mentality were beyond his reach. Although it is said that you should consider defeat before considering victory, if you lose confidence and shrink your hands in the face of setbacks, then it is indeed as Ye Wuji said that 10 points of strength can only be exerted. Half of the strength has not yet started. In Lin Su's heart, he still had some faint fear of the Emperor and Daozai, whom he had never met. Although he did not admit it, he always said that he had the belief that he was invincible at the same level, but was this belief really so solid? I'm afraid not. After all, Lin Su had also inquired about the situation of Tianzi and Daozai. Both of them were rare demon-level figures in thousands of years. It is said that they persisted for as long as Lin Su when facing the pressure test of the heavenly Dao. Although Lin Su did not transform into the five-clawed golden dragon at that time and did not reach the real limit, who can guarantee that these two people have no trump cards? However, this idea is gone now. Indeed, there are people beyond people and there are heavens beyond heavens. It is not impossible for a genius who is equal to him or even better to appear. But if you feel guilty before fighting, how can you be invincible at the same level? Invincible at the same level does not mean that you cannot fail, but you must have an invincible heart. This is a very strong belief. Without this belief, no matter how many adventures, how many immortal fates, And how good the skills are, I am afraid that you will not be able to truly reach the peak of the immortal way. Thinking of this, Lin Su looked at Yewuji with admiration. Although his father-in-law's potential is not particularly top-notch, he is indeed worthy of his admiration and learning in many aspects. Of course, that's what I said, but if I can improve my strength a little bit, I'll be more confident. I'll rely on you, Su'er, for this, he. Yewuji suddenly changed his tone and laughed. Lin Su. Dantian has a little field. Author, The Magic Orb Zoo. Chapter 297. Lin Su was speechless. He had just developed a little respect for Yewuji, but he immediately showed his true colors. The gap was too big. However, he was his father-in-law after all. Since he had already spoken, Lin Su naturally could not ignore it. Moreover, compared with Shi Donghua and other guards, Lin Su naturally hoped that Yewuji and the other two could obtain the qualification to enter the Dao Tower. Father-in-law, Uncle Yan, Yunfan, this is for you. With a sigh, Lin Su took out 3 blank jade slips, input a secret method into them, and then handed them to Yewuji and the other two. What is this? Zhang Yunfan weighed the jade slip in his hand and asked. A secret method that can bring out one's own potential. Lin Su gave Zhang Yunfan and the other two the 4th move of the Xianxia 9 moves, Critical Fist. The name has the word fist, but it is actually not related to fists at all. It is a secret method to stimulate one's own potential. Unlike the first 3 moves of Xianxia 9 styles, this move Critical Fist can be practiced by people who have never practiced Xiantian Treasure Mirror, but the effect is slightly worse than that of Lin Su. Practicing Critical Fist in daily life can slowly stimulate the potential in the body to enhance strength. If it is used in battle, it can increase one's combat power in a short period of time. As for whether this increased combat power is a few points or one or several times, it depends on the person. Although the combat power can be temporarily increased when using Critical Fist, it will cause a burden on the body. The higher the combat power multiplier, the greater the burden on the body. With Lin Su's current physical strength, he can only withstand a 5-fold increase in his combat power at most. If it is more, the body will collapse. Linzi, why didn't you take out this good thing earlier? It's too mean. Zhang Yunfan's eyes suddenly lit up after his spiritual consciousness entered the jade slip and browsed it, looking at Lin Su with dissatisfaction. Lin Su rolled his eyes wildly with a black line. What kind of person is this? Too ungrateful. I've decided to take it back. You should fight for it with your own ability, Lin Su said unhappily. He stretched out his hand to take back the jade slip, but was protected by Zhang Yunfan. Just kidding, don't take it so seriously. Zhang Yunfan smiled flatteringly, but seriously, Linzi, you should have taken out such a secret method earlier, so that we can have more time to practice and develop more potential. You make it sound simple. I just got the secret method, okay, Lin Su rolled his eyes. If his cultivation had not reached the middle stage of the fusion, this move Critical Fist would not appear. Xiantian 9 styles would only appear after the cultivation reached a certain level. Before that, Lin Su had no idea what kind of stunt would appear, or even when it would appear. Just got it? Oh, that's no wonder. Where did you get it? I'll try it too. Maybe I can get other secret methods, Zhang Yunfan asked with interest. This is the secret technique of the method I practice, called the 9 Xiantian styles. This is the 4th style, which appeared after my cultivation level broke through to the middle stage of the fusion. Even I don't know what the 5th style is. Where are you going to find it? Lin Su looked at Zhang Yunfan with some amusement. Is that so? Then there is nothing we can do. Zhang Yunfan looked regretful. Linzi, you called us here just to talk about this, right? Is there anything else? Nothing. Then I will go back to practice first. Su'er, I will go back to practice too. With your Critical Fist, I will be able to stimulate more potential before the competition. Yewuji and Yan Luo couldn't sit still anymore. After saying something, they put away the jade slip and left directly. Including Yewuji, Yan Luo and Zhang Yunfan, Lin Su felt that Zhang Yunfan and Yan Luo were the most likely to get a place in the Dao Tower among his 18 guards. First, their cultivation levels were the highest among the 18 guards, both of them were in the late stage of the fusion. Second, they were both top geniuses whose combat power far exceeded their cultivation, especially Yan Luo, who also had magical powers. Of course, Shi Donghua has also reached the state of late stage of fusion, and his strength is also one of the best among the other guards, so Lin Su will teach him the critical fist. As for whether he will pass it on to other guards, Lin Su can't control it, but I think he will tell Liao Bing at most. What should be done has been done, and the critical fist has been given to the 3 people and Shi Donghua. The next step is up to them. Lin Su smiled lightly, opened all the formations, and began to practice. He himself has obtained this critical fist not too long, and there is still a lot of potential waiting to be developed. Half a year later, Lin Su received a notice from the Dao sect that the competition for the entry quota of the Dao Tower will start in 3 days. The 3 sons of the Heaven and Earth Dao must participate, and the other guards can abstain. There is no such thing as a point in the competition. The conditions for winning and losing are that one party admits defeat, loses the ability to fight, or dies. The battle took place in a small world jointly opened up by the Tianzong and Daozong in Chaotian Peak of the Tiandao section. It was called a small world, but it was just a temporary space. Not to mention that it was not as good as the spiritual field space, even the small world in the human world could not compare. However, because the 2 peerless masters of Tianzong and Daozong opened it up, the stability of this space in a short period of time was not inferior to the spiritual field space, but it could not last long. During the competition, pairs were randomly drawn and competed in pairs. The winners advanced smoothly, and the losers were eliminated. There was no chance to come again. Of course, this was for the total of 54 guards of the Tiandi Dao Sanzi, and the order of the Tiandi Dao Sanzi's competition was not included. In the first round, 54 guards will compete against each other, and 27 will be selected to advance. In the second round, one of the 27 who have advanced will be selected to challenge any one of the 3 sons of Tiandi Dao. If he wins, he will directly skip the rest of the competition and get the qualification to enter the Dao Tower. If he fails, he will also be eliminated. The person selected to challenge the 3 sons can volunteer. If no one is willing, 2 will be randomly matched and challenged by the person with a bye. The remaining 26 people will fight against each other, and 13 will be selected to advance. In the third round, it is also a 2-on-2 competition. 1 person will be given a bye, and 6 will be selected to advance. The person with a bye will randomly select 1 person from the 6 who failed to compete, and the winner will advance. So far, the 7 who have advanced, together with the 3 sons of Tiandi Dao, have obtained 10 places to enter the Dao Tower. Of course, after the qualification for the Dao Tower is determined, whether the 3 sons will have a friendly match, it depends on their interest at that time. As soon as he learned about the rules of the competition, Lin Su's face suddenly darkened. The rule of the second round of the competition, which was to challenge one of the 3 sons of the Heaven and Earth Dao, seemed to be specifically aimed at him. Bar Book 69 New. Among the 3 sons of the Heaven and Earth Dao, Lin Su, the son of the Earth, has the lowest cultivation level, only in the middle stage of the fusion. This is of course because he has not practiced for a long time, but in the eyes of others, he must be the easiest person to deal with among the 3 sons. It is said that the weak persimmons are picked, and he, the weak persimmon, will definitely become the target of public criticism at that time. After all, most of the 36 guards of the Emperor and the son of the Dao are in the stage of the crossing tribulation. Let alone the eye-popping rule that defeating him can directly obtain the qualification to enter the Dao Tower. The Emperor and the Son of the Dao will never let him lose face. Lin Su can even imagine that the Emperor and the Son of the Dao will definitely choose the strongest among the guards to challenge him at that time. If Lin Su was defeated by the guards of the Son of Heaven or the Son of Dao under the same cultivation, then this face would be really lost. At that time, even if Dao Zong supported him, he might not be able to sit firmly on the position of the Son of Earth. Moreover, it is estimated that Dao Zong would be the first to abandon him. What the other party needs is a genius who can compete with the two peerless monsters of the Son of Heaven and the Son of Dao, not a waste that is not even as good as the other party's guards. Dao Zong notified Lin Su by voice transmission. Looking at Dao Zong's calm face in the image, Lin Su sighed in his heart. This might be a test for him. After more than 600 years of full-scale cultivation, has it cultivated another monster or a mediocre talent? This challenge for the quota of the Dao Tower is the best test opportunity. If I win, everything will be fine. Entering the Dao Tower is a sure thing. If I lose, I am afraid that everything will be over. No, I must win no matter what. It is not only about winning the challenge, but also about winning the fight if the Emperor of Heaven and Daozai want to compete after the quota is determined. Only in this way can the hostile people be completely suppressed and a firm foothold can be established in Tiandao sect. After 3 days of breathing and adjusting his spirit to the peak state, Lin Su opened his eyes, a gleam of light flashed in his eyes, and he stood up and walked out of the hall. Lord Daizai. Outside the hall, the 18 guards, including Zhang Yunfan and the other two, had been waiting for a long time. When they saw Lin Su coming out, they shouted in unison with their eyes shining. Are you all ready? Ready. Well, let's go. With a tap of his feet, Lin Su soared into the air and flew towards Chaotian Peak, followed by the 18 guards. At the same time, a group of people from the Tianzi Palace and Daozai Palace also took off to Chaotian Peak. All the Tiandao sect disciples in the Tiandao Divine Mountain raised their heads and cast their eyes on the figures in the air, their eyes full of envy. On the Tiandao Divine Mountain, ordinary cultivators cannot fly with the wind. Apart from the Tianzong and Daozong and the 4 elders, only the 3 sons of Tiandi Dao and their guards have this qualification. As for the situation where so many people are flying to Chaotian Peak at the same time, it can only be a battle for the qualification of Dao Tower that happens once every 1,000 years. How enviable! If only I could join the competition. What are you daydreaming about? Do you think anyone is eligible to enter this Dao Tower? Do you think the qualification to enter the Dao Tower will be taken up by the 2 Tiandao palaces this time? After all, the Daizai Palace was established not long ago, and even Lord Daizai has only the cultivation level of the middle stage of the fusion, tisk tisk. Are you saying that the Daizai Palace guards will be wiped out? No way. Who said no? I heard that Lord Tianzi and Lord Daozai have already said that they will make this new Lord Daizai look bad. I'm afraid that not only will the Daizai Palace guards be wiped out, but even whether this Lord Daizai can keep his qualification for the Dao Tower is uncertain. Yes, if Lord Daizai loses in the challenge, then the position of Daizai will probably have to be replaced. With the strength of Lin Su and others, these discussions naturally fell into his ears without any error. Lin Su glanced at the 18 guards behind him. Except for Yan Luo, who always kept his emotions, Zhang Yunfan and others' faces were a little red, especially Shi Donghua's face was the most ferocious, with a fierce light in his eyes. As the saying goes, the master humiliates the minister, and except for Zhang Yunfan and the other 3, the other 15 guards have regarded Lin Su as their master. Their interests have long been tied to Lin Su. At this moment, hearing such words, how can they not be indignant? What? Do you think these voices are harsh? Looking at Chaotian Peak not far ahead, Lin Su stopped, turned his head and glanced at the 18 guards and smiled lightly. Sir, this is definitely intentional. This is too much, Shi Donghua's eyes flashed with cold light, and his anger kept rising. If no one instructed him, how could ordinary disciples dare to talk about their Earth child like this, especially when they were disrespectful to Lin Su, the Earth child? Of course I know that someone did it on purpose. Lin Su nodded and said in a deep voice, the other party's goal is to undermine our self-confidence and arouse our anger at the same time. You know, people are most likely to make mistakes when they are furious. Shi Donghua was shocked. Yes, why didn't he think of such a simple psychological strategy? He turned around and saw that the others were also horrified. He immediately felt more balanced. It seems that I am not the only one who was angered by this trick. Seeing that everyone was awakened, Lin Su nodded with satisfaction and said in a deep voice, you can be angry, but you can't let it blind you. Using such a cheap trick shows that the other party's confidence is not as strong as they think, so why should we be afraid? Your Excellency is right. They want us to be angry, so we will turn this anger into war and burn them hard. This time, in the battle for the quota of the Dao Tower, we must make our Earth Palace famous. Shi Donghua took over the words at the right time, and immediately aroused everyone's fighting spirit. That's right, beat them up hard and let them see how powerful we are. Is it great to have a high level of cultivation? It's just that we have lived longer. With the secret method given to us by the adults, we will definitely make them pay the price. Among the 18 guards, Zhang Yunfan, Ye Wuji and Yan Luo were relatively calm. The critical fist obtained by the three of them was the complete version, without any changes or reductions. After more than half a year of hard training, although the potential was not fully stimulated, it was already 3 or 4 points stronger than before. When the time comes, we can temporarily improve the combat power. At least the first round of the competition should be no problem. Good. This is the momentum that people from my Earth Palace should have. Keep it up and teach the people from the Heaven Palace and the Dao Palace a good lesson. Dantian has a little field. Author, The Magic Orb Zoo. Chapter 298. Because of the delay of stopping to boost morale, when Lin Su and others arrived at the high platform of Chaotian Peak, the people from Tianzi Palace and Daozai Palace had already arrived. Standing in front of the two groups were monks dressed in purple and white. It was obvious that they were the leaders of the two groups, and there was a sense of opposition between them. They were the Tianzi and Daozai who had never met. The one in purple was the Tianzi, and the one in white was the Daozai. Although the two did not deliberately release their aura, they could still feel the two overwhelming auras colliding with each other. Very powerful opponents, strong enemies. Just a glance, Lin Su felt a huge pressure from Tianzi and Daozai, which was not possessed by other cultivators in the Tribulation Crossing stage. Even the aura of the row of guards above the Tribulation Crossing stage behind the two was far less than that. With the strength of one person, he is comparable to, no, far surpassing the combined momentum of the 18 guards under his command. He is indeed the legendary two evil geniuses. This strength is really terrifying and a little abnormal. You should know that the momentum of these 18 guards is not as simple as 1 plus 1. If Lin Su still has some confidence to compete with the guards behind Tianzi and Daozai, even if he can't win, he can still remain undefeated. Facing Tianzi and Daozai, Lin Su really can't raise any idea of competing. Of course, this comparison is when the opponent maintains the current cultivation and strength. If it is reduced to the same cultivation, then he can give it a try. Lin Su is estimating the strength of Tianzi, Daozai, and the guards behind them. Tianzi and Daozai are also probing Lin Su's strength, but the released probing power is completely swallowed up as if it encounters a black hole when it touches Lin Su's body, without any feedback. This Daozai, it seems, is not as incompetent as imagined. The same thought flashed through the minds of Tianzi and Daozai at the same time, and then a sense of pride surged in their eyes again. Even so, they are still far behind me. The rules of the competition have already been told to you, and this sect will not say more. a light hum that resounded throughout the venue sounded, and Tianzong spoke, and at the same time waved his hand to shoot out a purple light ball, which floated above everyone's head. Just when Lin Su and others were puzzled, two purple lights from the purple light ball, swish sank into the bodies of a Tianzi guard and a Daozai guard, and the figures of the two people slowly faded and disappeared. At the same time, a water mirror appeared in the field, and the figures in the water mirror were the two guards who were hit by the purple light and disappeared before. What is this? Lin Su was dumbfounded. What was going on? Aren't they going to draw lots? Why did they start fighting directly? Sir, the light ball will randomly shoot out two beams of light. The two people who are hit will be teleported to the small world created by Lord Tianzong and Lord Daozong to compete. Seeing Lin Su's confused look, Shi Donghua walked to Lin Su and whispered. So that's what happened, hey. This method is not bad. If you are hit, you can start fighting directly. I just don't know if it will hit people in the same camp. Shi Donghua looked at the weird smile on Lin Su's face, as if he guessed what Lin Su was thinking. He smiled and whispered, don't worry, sir, Lord Tianzong has always been fair. Generally speaking, people in the same camp will not be selected at the same time in the first round. Hey, this guy. Lin Su glanced at Shi Donghua in surprise. This ability to peek into people's hearts is not bad. He actually guessed what I was thinking. Lin Su nodded calmly and turned his eyes to the water mirror. The two guards in the small world had already started a fierce battle. However, I don't know if it was the restriction effect of the small world set up by Tianzong and Daozong. The strength of the two cultivators revealed in the water mirror was limited to the early stage of fusion, which was more than one realm lower than their original cultivation. Well, although the realm was lowered, the competition between the two was still remarkable. You and I used tricks to stack up, and it looked like the other party was your mortal enemy. It's right to say that. It's about the qualification to enter the Dao Tower. Isn't it the same as a mortal enemy? Unless it's a life and death friendship, who can resist such a temptation? Just when Lin Su was sighing for the fragility and greed of human nature, the two guards in the water mirror had already decided the winner. Daozai's guards were more skilled and chopped the Tianzi guards away fiercely. The blood spurted out and it was obvious that he had lost the strength to fight again. The two who decided the winner were teleported out. The face of the victorious Daozai guard was slightly pale, but he could not hide his joy. If he could successfully win a round, he would be one step closer to the Dao Tower. The defeated Tianzi guard looked ashen. After apologizing to Tianzi, he stood at the end of the team silently. It seems that my Daozai palace won the first round. Daozai was in a good mood because his guard won. He smiled and looked at Tianzi and said softly. It's just one round. It's hard to say who can make it to the end. The higher you fly, the worse you fall. Tianzi's face did not change, but a cold light flashed in his eyes, and he snorted softly. Then let's see who falls the worst. Still smiling, Daozai returned his gaze to the field. Next group, this time it was Daozong who spoke. He also shot out a white ball of light that floated in the air. Then two white rays of light shot out from the ball of light and hit one of Daozong's guards and, Yan Luo. Haha, Daozai chuckled and glanced at the emperor beside him. You are so lucky to have chosen the person from the earthly womb. It seems that our Daoeng Wang will win these two games. A trace of anger flashed in Tianzi's eyes, but he did not refute. Like Daozai, he did not think that the people in the Earth Palace would have any chance of winning. The three palaces of heaven, earth, and Dao, how can this Earth Palace be compared with my Heaven Palace? They are just a bunch of rabble. Unlike the Emperor and Daozai, Lin Su had a strange smile on his lips. It was Yama who was chosen. Now there is something good to watch. In terms of strength, among the 18 guards of the Earth Palace, Yama is probably still above Zhang Yunfan. After all, he is the founder of the Yama Palace, the former king of killers. In terms of one-on-one combat, at the same level, he can defeat Yama. There are really not many. This is based on the fact that Yama has no special moves. Don't forget, Yama has magical powers. At this time, in the small world jointly opened by Tianzong and Daozong, Yan Luo's opponent, the guard of Daozong, looked at Daozong up and down, and said in a contemptuous tone, "Little guy from the underground palace, don't blame me. I didn't remind you that I have always been merciless in my actions. Since your cultivation is not easy, it would be a pity if you were to die in my hands. As long as you surrender now, I can let you go, okay?" This guard is called Zhang Sheng, and he ranks second among the 18 guards of the Dao Palace. In his opinion, apart from Sidujian, who ranks first among the guards of the Dao Palace, only Fengming among the guards of the Emperor can do it. Counting as his opponents, as for Yama and other guards of the Earth Palace, he has never taken them seriously. I thought that after saying this, the other party would express his gratitude and admit defeat as if he had received an amnesty. Unexpectedly, the other party looked at him coldly without saying a word. Zhang Sheng couldn't help but become a little angry. "Hey, boy. What are you doing? Attitude. If you don't drink a toast, you'll be punished with a drink. You talk nonsense, too much," Yama Luo snorted coldly. Before he could finish his words, his whole body collapsed. No, what collapsed was the afterimage left behind. Yama Luo himself was already in this moment. It turned into a dark light and rushed in front of Zhang Sheng, and the Yama thorn in his hand stabbed Zhang Sheng's forehead fiercely. Bold, Zhang Sheng felt the cold wind blowing against his face, and a faint tingling sensation appeared in the middle of his eyebrows. He was shocked and couldn't help but get angry. However, as the second guard of the Taoist palace, he could also feel the pain of Yan Luo. Due to the terrifying lethality contained in the attack, Zhang Sheng did not choose to fight hard but retreated. Damn it! The Yama thorn followed closely like a maggot attached to the bone, right in front of Zhang Sheng's eyebrows. Zhang Sheng dodged several times but failed to dodge. In desperation, Zhang Sheng stopped retreating and used his weapon fiercely. "Pick it up." Boom. There was a loud bang, and air waves visible to the naked eye spread out. A piece of flying sand and rocks in the water mirror covered the two people's figures. When the smoke and dust cleared, the scene that was revealed made everyone stunned. In the water mirror, Zhang Sheng and Yan Luo faced each other with their backs facing each other. A drop of bright red blood slowly condensed on the Yama thorn on Yama Luo's right hand, but before it dripped, it was strangely absorbed by the Yama thorn, while the one on the other side Zhang Sheng had an expression of disbelief on his face. There was a small hole in the middle of the weapon in his hand, and there was a faint trace of blood between his eyebrows. How is that possible? Turning his head with difficulty, Zhang Sheng seemed to be asking Yan Luo, and after uttering a sentence as if he was asking himself, the whole person quickly weathered and shattered from the blood mark between his eyebrows. In the blink of an eye, he had become a wisp of fly ash, but his body was completely before the destruction. A stream of light flew out of his Dantian, revealing a little man in purple armor who looked like Zhang Sheng, looking at Yan Luo with a look of horror and resentment. It's Zhang Sheng's nascent soul. The physical body was completely destroyed, and only nascent soul escaped. What's going on? What happened just now? How could Zhang Sheng's body be destroyed in one go? Impossible. How could Zhang Sheng lose? And he still lost to the guards of the underground palace? What's that guy's name? What a fast speed, what a powerful attack, there is such a person among the underground guards. After a brief shock, the guards began to discuss in low voices. The low-strength ones naturally had surprised and confused expressions on their faces, and did not see clearly what happened in the flash of lightning just now, while the high-strength ones could clearly see that scene. But the surprise in my heart was not small. After all, it was an attack launched under the cultivation level of the early stage of integration. If it were me, could I block it? Thinking of this, everyone's heart suddenly sank, and the eyes they looked at Yama who was teleported became more and more different. Sir, I. As soon as he was teleported out, Zhang Sheng's nascent soul flew to Daozai's side with a look of horror on his face, looking at a loss. Eat it, go back to the palace and wait. Daozai's eyes flashed with anger, he flicked a fragrant pill into Zhang Sheng's nascent soul's hand and said coldly. Yes, sir, thank you, sir. Zhang Sheng swallowed his saliva. Of course, it was just an action. Yuanying is an energy body and there is no possibility of spit. He turned around and glanced at the silent man in black. Yama swallowed the elixir without even daring to fart, turned his head and turned into a stream of light flying towards the Taoist womb. Situnan, is this what you call winning 2 games in a row? Haha, it really opened my eyes, the mocking voice of the Emperor Wang Sheng sounded. Although he was secretly surprised by the result of this competition, he also felt relieved. Just now, his guards were defeated by the guards of Daozai Situnan. Now it is also a pleasant thing to see Situnan being defeated, isn't it? Humph. Wang Sheng, the winner is not from your Tianzi palace, what are you proud of? Daozai Situnan said coldly. My Tianzi palace's people are useless, but they are not useless to the extent that others destroy their physical bodies. This is really, tisk tisk, Emperor Wang Sheng laughed loudly, and Daozai Situnan's face became even gloomier. Damn it! I didn't expect that there would be such a person in the Daizhi palace. Why have I never heard of it before? Zhang Sheng, that bastard, if he hadn't underestimated the enemy, even if he lost to the opponent, he wouldn't have been defeated so badly, and he lost the face of my Daozai palace. Damn it! Although Wang Sheng was mocking Situnan, his eyes were looking at the people in the underground palace, and stayed on Yan Luo and Lin Su for a while. It seems that he really underestimated the people in the underground palace before. I wonder how many people like Yan Luo are there in the underground palace. Looking at Lin Su's unsurprised expression, did he expect this result? Things are getting more and more interesting. If the people in the heavenly palace were shocked, and the people in the Taoist palace were shocked with waves of shame and anger, then the guards of the underground palace were surprised. Old Yan, good job. Haha, Yewuji laughed and patted Yan Luo on the shoulder. Uncle Yan, you should have worked harder to kill that guy's Yuanying. The one who would say such vicious words is naturally the mean Zhang Yunfan. Brother Yan, I didn't expect you to be so powerful. What is the trick to kill that guy just now? Can you teach me? This kind of familiar and shameless person is naturally Shi Donghua. Facing the flattery and awe-inspiring gazes of the crowd, Yan Luo just smiled faintly at Yewuji, Zhang Yunfan and Lin Su, and his face returned to its calm expression, as if he had just done something insignificant. Lin Su secretly admired him in his heart, saying that he was worthy of being Yan Luo, and it seemed that he had improved a lot in these days. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Dantian has a little field. Author, The Magic Orb Zoo. Chapter 299. Compared to the shock of the crowd, the expressions on the faces of Tianzong and Daozong did not change much, but a strange light flashed in their eyes, and their gaze stayed on Yan Luo for a while. Next group, with a light shout from Tianzong, the purple light ball suspended in the air shot out 2 purple lights, one of which sank into the chest of Xiao Bihe, the guard of Tianzi Palace, and the other, hit Zhang Yunfan. Hey, they chose their own people twice in a row, just to let Daizhi Palace stand out or embarrass Daizhi Palace. Lin Su glanced at Zhang Yunfan's excited expression in the water mirror, and a slight arc appeared at the corner of his mouth. It seems that the good show will continue. Haha, it's the people of Daizhi Palace again. Situnan, this round will be won by my Tianzi Palace to help you get revenge. Tianzi Wangsheng glanced at Daizai Situnan and smiled. Don't be happy too early, the people of Daizai Palace are not simple, don't capsize in the gutter. Situnan smiled but didn't smile. Don't worry. My Tianzi Palace is not like your Daizai Palace, which can be so exciting even in a small ditch. Humph. When Tianzi Wangsheng and Daizai Situnan were verbally fighting, Zhang Yunfan had already fought with Xiao Bihe in the water mirror. With the pearls and jades of Daizai Palace Zhangsheng in front, although Xiao Bihe didn't think much of Zhang Yunfan, he still took out all his strength as soon as he came on the court, striving to take down Zhang Yunfan without any accidents. However, things didn't seem to go as smoothly as he imagined. When he exerted 80% of his strength at the beginning, Xiao Bihe felt that Zhang Yunfan had reached his limit and was about to be unable to resist. However, at 90% of his strength, 100% of his strength, and even at 120% of his super strong performance, the opponent still looked like he was about to collapse like before. Damn it! Are you kidding me? If Xiao Bihe hadn't noticed it until now, he would not be qualified to be the guard of Tianzi Palace. Although he noticed it, this fact really made him very depressed and a little horrified. Xiao Bihe knew very well that he had performed beyond his normal level, but he still hadn't found the opponent's bottom line, which meant that the opponent's strength was far above his. What was the point of continuing to fight under such circumstances? Although Xiao Bihe had a trick that he hadn't used, it was a do-or-die move. If he failed to defeat the opponent, he would fall into a weak state. At that time, he might follow in Zhangsheng's footsteps. Although it is said that even if only the nascent soul is left, one can still possess the body of a person with their cultivation level, and it takes some time to practice the cultivation again, but it is not an easy task to achieve a perfect fit with the original body. Just like Zhangsheng, after this catastrophe, his strength will probably be reduced by at least 30%. Oh, you saw through it? It's so boring. I have been suppressing my strength very hard. I wanted to play for a while, Zhang Yunfan sighed, looking regretful. This bastard. Xiao Bihe's face was ashen. His full strength battle was actually playing in the eyes of the opponent. Too much bullying, too much bullying. A rage rushed from his heart to his head. Just when Xiao Bihe wanted to use his ultimate move regardless of everything, he forcibly held back and admitted defeat with a sullen face. Looking at the other party's faded figure, Zhang Yunfan shook his head with regret and sighed, alas, it's a pity that this guy didn't fall for it. Forget it, just save your strength. After that, his figure gradually faded and disappeared and appeared outside the court. Fortunately, I have fulfilled my mission and won a game. Zhang Yunfan's figure flashed and landed in front of the people in the Daizai Palace and smiled. Everyone congratulated him and envied him. When Xiao Bihe returned to the Tianzi Palace camp, his face was a little unnatural. Although he didn't lose too badly, losing was losing after all, and this was an indisputable fact. I'm sorry, sir, Xiao Bihe just spoke when he was interrupted by the Emperor Wangsheng. Victory and defeat are common in the military, there is no need to do this. Yes, sir, Xiao Bihe looked at the Emperor Wangsheng gratefully and stood at the end of the team. Wangsheng, it seems that your ship of the Emperor's palace is not that stable, Taoist Situnan said sarcastically. At least it didn't flip as badly as your Taoist palace, Wangsheng responded unceremoniously, and then he and Situnan looked at each other coldly, turning their heads away and saying nothing more. In the following battle, Yewuji and Shi Donghua advanced one after another. What was beyond Lin Su's expectation was that Liao Bing also advanced, and the little girl showed good strength. It seems that Shi Donghua should have shared the critical fist with her as soon as he got it. As a result of the first round of competition, 10 people from the Heavenly Palace and the Taoist Palace each successfully advanced, and 7 people from the Earthly Palace. This result not only surprised the people from the Heavenly Palace and the Taoist Palace, but also Lin Su. It seems that the simplified version of Critical Fist he gave Shi Donghua really helped everyone improve. I really didn't expect that so many people from the Earthly Palace could pass the first round of competition. Indeed. We underestimated the Earthly Palace before. But I heard that the guards of the Earthly Palace were all unknown people in the sect before, and they could reach such a level after becoming the guards of the Earthly Palace. Tisk tisk. I'm afraid that this Earthly Palace Lin Su is not as easy to deal with as imagined. Everyone was talking a lot, and the eyes of everyone looking at the underground palace were different. Their evaluation of Lin Su's land had also improved several levels. They were not so confident about the challenge of the third son in the second round of competition. Everyone gave up the idea of challenging Lin Su. As a son of the earth, he must be more powerful than his guards. How can those who think they are not even comparable to Yama and others dare to challenge him? However, in the face of huge interests, some people are naturally willing to take risks, such as Fengming, the first guard of Tianzong Palace, and Sidujian, the first guard of Daoang Palace. Both of them proposed to challenge Lin Su. Hey, it seems that my place is really not a deterrent. All the cats and dogs want to step on me and get the upper hand. Lin Su shook his head, looked at Fengming and Sidujian, who were glaring at each other like two fighting dogs, and said helplessly, "Hey, is it necessary to argue like this? How about you two fight and win? Will the person challenge me again? Or just draw lots and the person drawn will challenge me?" Fengming and Sidujian looked at each other, not expecting Lin Su's sudden voice. From Lin Su's somewhat impatient look, it seemed that he didn't notice them at all. Is he that confident? Rightward arrow. Fengming and Sidujian were the first ones to suggest that they would obviously not consider it. They should fight first and then challenge them. Are they sick? If you have the energy, you can advance through normal competitions. If the first suggestion doesn't work, then there is only the second one. Draw lots to decide who is qualified to challenge Lin Su. As a result, Fengming has better luck than Sidujian and is qualified to challenge Lin Su. Fengming looked excited, while Sidujian looked depressed. However, if they could foresee the outcome of the challenge, their moods might have been reversed. Fengming, are you sure you want to challenge Daise? If you fail, you will lose the qualification to enter the Tao Tower. Lord Daozong, I am sure. Daozong nodded lightly, and the brilliance of Lin Su and Fengming disappeared in a flash and entered the small world. Lord Daise, let's call you that. It's such a pity that your position as Daise will not be kept soon, because I will trample you under my feet and make you lose all face, Fengming sneered. Lin Sudao said, but these words must not be transmitted externally, so Fengming said it through sound transmission. Really? Is this your own idea or the Emperor's idea? Suddenly receiving Fengming's threatening message, Lin Su was stunned for a moment, then a cold light flashed in his eyes, and he looked at Fengming's message with amusement. Yin replied. It's the Emperor's idea, and it's also my idea. Is a guy like you worthy of the position of Earth Master? Huh. I'm going to pull you down from the position of Earth Master today, Fengming's eyes flashed with emotion. The look of jealousy. Well. Another guy who is jealous of his position. It seems that in the past 600 years, he has only focused on practicing and collecting resources. He has only appeared too few times and has not shown enough deterrence. Looking at Fengming, who had a ferocious look on his face, a dripping evil spirit rose from Lin Su's body. It just so happened that someone was coming up to him, so let's use this to establish his authority. Lin Su, Fengming wanted to say something more, but suddenly felt something was wrong in his heart. He instinctively ducked, and a strong wind suddenly appeared where he was standing. It turned out to be Lin Su's fist. At this time, Lin Su's figure opposite him slowly disappeared. Hi, Fengming took a breath, Lin Su's speed, so fast. It's a powerful enemy, so you have to deal with it carefully. Avoided? What a pity. Lin Su looked at his empty fist and sighed with regret. He originally wanted to catch him off guard and use transformation to dodge to his side and defeat him, but he didn't expect the other party to do so. He actually dodged it. The first guard of Tianwu is indeed not simple. With his eyes focused, Lin Su rushed towards Feng Ming again, hitting key points all over Feng Ming's body with his fists with powerful destructive power. When one's cultivation has reached Lin Su's level, the power of ordinary spells cannot compare to the physical power stimulated by Long Yuan. Even the Dian 5 elements sword formation may not be as lethal as Lin Su's full-out punch. Of course, this is also because Lin Su's body is a 5-clawed golden dragon, and the power of his body is much more powerful than that of ordinary monks. Damn it! Why is this guy so strong? Luck blocked Lin Su's attack with all his strength. Feng Ming only felt a numbness in his arms. He was beaten by Lin Su and could only parry but not fight back. He was tired of dealing with the continuous attacks. He couldn't deliver a single move, let alone activate any powerful spells. This is the biggest difference between ordinary monks and physical cultivators. Ordinary monks can use the spiritual energy of heaven and earth to launch powerful spells. The deeper their understanding of the avenue of heaven and earth, the more powerful the spells they can activate. However, most of these powerful spells it requires a certain amount of preparation time, and even seemingly instantaneous spells require driving the true energy inside or outside the body to outline the spell before it can be cast. However, Feng Ming's whole body of true energy was now used to resist Lin Su's attack. There was no extra true energy to activate the spell, and Lin Su did not give him time to activate the spell, and he was secretly complaining in his heart. Miscalculated, miscalculated. This Lin Su is actually an individual cultivator. Now we are in big trouble. Physical cultivation is a branch of monks. The physical body is much stronger than that of ordinary monks. They are used to close attacks, while long-distance attacks are relatively weak. However, physical cultivation has extremely high requirements on the physical body, which is not seen among 10,000 monks. You must have a physical body that meets the conditions for physical cultivation. Basically, at the same level, the combat power of physical cultivators is stronger than that of ordinary cultivators. After all, when the two have similar cultivation levels, it is difficult for ordinary cultivators to defeat physical cultivators before they get close to them. Once they get close to physical cultivators, they will only be ravaged. Lin Su is not a physical cultivator, but his physical strength is better than that of ordinary physical cultivators. Moreover, he does not have the disadvantage of physical cultivators' lack of long-range attacks. He just likes the pleasure of close combat. If you defend for a long time, you will lose. What's more, Feng Ming's defense is completely suppressed. Gradually, Feng Ming began to feel that his true energy was running out. He could not defend against all of Lin Su's attacks. Finally, he was hit hard in the chest by a punch. The violent punch force completely shattered the several defenses formed by Feng Ming's true energy and the spiritual energy of heaven and earth on his chest. Feng Ming howled and flew backwards like a meteorite and hit the ground hard. The water mirror shook violently. Hiss. The people watching the match couldn't help but gasp. Before the competition, no one expected that Lin Su would attack in such a violent way, and no one expected that Feng Ming, the first guard of Tianzi Palace, would be beaten so badly that he couldn't even fight back. Among the people present, Zhang Yunfan, Yan Luo and Ye Wuji were probably the only ones who were not surprised at this. Su'er is still as violent as ever, Ye Wuji sighed softly, remembering the scene when Su Tiandi and others were beaten up by Lin Su. This guy is so stupid that he actually challenged Lin Zi, and he was so stupid that he fought Lin Zi in close combat. He is simply courting death. Yang Yunfan looked at the huge deep pit on the ground in the water mirror and sighed while shaking his head. Boom! The deep pit exploded, and Feng Ming rushed out of the pit in tattered clothes. He was covered in blood. He looked at Lin Su with fear and resentment, and roared like a beast, "Asshole! Damn it! I will kill you, I will kill you." As the first guard of the Emperor's palace, Feng Ming's strength has reached the late stage of the tribulation. In the entire Tiandao sect, except for Tianzong, Daozong, Emperor, and Daozai, the rest of the people, including the four elders, are not taken seriously by Feng Ming. That's why he challenged Lin Su so actively, not only to follow the order of the Emperor, but more to replace Lin Su. It's just a pity that he kicked the iron plate and was injured by Lin Su instead. The huge gap made Feng Ming crazy, and his whole body of true energy rioted. He wanted to use a trick to kill Lin Su. Dantian has a little field. Author, The Magic Orb Zoo. Chapter 300. Is the dog desperate? Lin Su looked at Feng Ming, who was in a mess, and felt his aura rising continuously and the increasingly thick blood mist pouring out of his body, and frowned slightly. Spiritual blood explosion. Feng Ming is going to fight to the death, the Emperor Wang Sheng frowned. He was the one who gave Feng Ming this spiritual blood explosion secret method, so he naturally knew its pros and cons. Spiritual blood explosion forces out most of the body's essence and blood, and uses the essence and blood as a guide to increase one's own strength to 3 times the original in a short period of time, but the price is that after a quarter of an hour, he falls into extreme weakness, and his cultivation level is reduced by 1 level. Although Feng Ming can only exert the cultivation of the early stage of fusion now, it is only limited by the temporary space rules set up by Tianzong and Daozong. His original cultivation has not changed. The strength improved by the secret method will not be limited by the space rules. After using spirit blood explosion, his combat power will definitely increase greatly, but then he will fall back from the late stage of tribulation to the middle stage of tribulation, or even directly fall back to the early stage of tribulation. After all, he has just broken through to the late stage of tribulation, and his foundation is not solid yet. Damn bastard! Look how I tear you alive. In the water mirror, Feng Ming has fallen into madness. At this moment, there is only one thought in his mind, to tear Lin Su in front of him into pieces, to tear him into pieces. Only if Lin Su is defeated, everything Feng Ming has paid will be worth it. It is not a loss to exchange 1 level of cultivation for the qualification to enter the Dao Tower. If Lin Su died, the position of the Son of the Land would be vacant, and Feng Ming might be able to take his place. After all, although Lin Su was favored by Dao sect, he would be worthless if he died. This is the unchanging truth of the law of the jungle. Dai, Feng Jian. A green long sword appeared in Feng Ming's hand, and he slashed hundreds of swords at Lin Su in almost an instant. The fierce sword energy covered Lin Su, and there were countless tiny wind blades mixed in it. Lin Su's pupils shrank suddenly. He had already felt the powerful destructive power contained in the sword energy and wind blades before they even reached him. Each of these sword energy and wind blades was enough to kill a normal peak master in the early stage of fusion. With so many sword energy and wind blades. Dian 5 elements sword formation, protect. Evil Chi armor. Without time to think, 49 5-element spirit swords rushed out from Lin Su's Dantian to form the Dian 5 elements sword formation to protect Lin Su's whole body. At the same time, thick evil spirit also emerged from Lin Su's body to form the evil Chi armor. With a loud bang, the sword energy and wind blades hit Lin Su in the double protection, and smoke and dust rose everywhere. Ha ha ha. Die. 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 Feng Ming laughed crazily, and turned all his true essence into wind sword energy and wind blades to blast towards Lin Su's position. This was the strongest attack he could launch now. While the duration of spirit blood explosion was still there, he must completely defeat Lin Su and blast him into slag. It's bad, the water mirror was filled with smoke and dust, and nothing could be seen clearly. Although the energy in it would not dissipate through the water mirror, it could be felt. That kind of powerful destructive power was definitely not something that ordinary peak cultivators of the early stage of fusion could resist. The faces of Xianxia and other Earth Uterus guards changed drastically. Don't worry, this level of attack can't do anything to Lin Ziyi. Zhang Yunfan touched his nose and stretched out his hand to press down. Xianxia and others calmed down a little, but their faces were still a little anxious. Unlike Zhang Yunfan and the other two, Xianxia knew that Lin Su was very powerful, but he didn't know how powerful he was, and he didn't know that Lin Su's body was a 5-clawed golden dragon, and his physical strength was comparable to that of a mid-grade spiritual weapon. Xianxia turned his head and looked carefully at Zhang Yunfan's face. There was no worry at all, and he looked relaxed and looked like he was watching a good show. Xianxia's hanging heart finally calmed down a little. Although Lin Su has always been very respectful to Xianxia, Xianxia also knows that the relationship between him and Lin Su is far inferior to that between Zhang Yunfan, Ye Wuji and Yan Luo. Since Zhang Yunfan is not worried at all, and Ye Wuji and Yan Luo's expressions have not changed, it means that this level of attack really can't do anything to Lin Su. It seems that I still underestimated the strength of this Lord Daizi. But it's good that way. If Lin Su is too weak and is defeated, then his future will be a bit troublesome. Looking at the Fengming bombarding in the water mirror and the scene shrouded in smoke and dust on the opposite side, Xianxia's eyes flashed with a strange expression, and a smile appeared on the corner of his mouth again. Hoo-hoo. Ying, hoo-hoo, he should be dead, right? Fengming stopped panting after bombarding for a quarter of an hour. Of course, he had to stop because the duration of spirit blood explosion had ended. His breath dropped greatly, and coupled with his previous injuries, it was difficult for him to even float in the air. The smoke began to dissipate gradually. Because of Fengming's attack, the atmosphere in the entire space was extremely chaotic. Fengming didn't know what Lin Su's current situation was. He just looked at the smoke with wide eyes full of expectation. Fengming's eyes opened wider and wider. As the smoke gradually dissipated, Lin Su's figure gradually appeared. There were no broken limbs as imagined, no scars as imagined, and even the corners of his clothes and hair were not messy at all. Lin Su was completely unharmed. How is it possible? Fengming felt that he was completely stunned. His attack just now was not something that a cultivator at the peak of the early stage of fusion could withstand, even a cultivator in the middle stage of fusion could not withstand, let alone being unharmed. This is really too much. How is it possible? Hey, how is it impossible? Lin Su sneered, what do you think is possible? Am I blown to pieces or covered with scars and seriously injured and dying? You are too confident in yourself, right? It's ridiculous that you want to hurt me with such a ridiculous attack. You. What do you mean you? Unbelievable. Did you get poked in the sore spot? Lin Su sneered, and the cold killing intent spread quickly, soon filling the entire space. Fengming, who was in it, shuddered suddenly, and a bad premonition suddenly rose in his heart. Lin Su, what are you going to do? You want to? Fengming's pupils shrank suddenly, and he was hit hard in the chest halfway through his words, and all the words he wanted to say were beaten back. After punching Fengming hard, Lin Su flashed a shape change and appeared behind Fengming, and kicked him hard again, and then flashed again. Aren't you going to replace me? Aren't you going to kill me? Isn't your secret method very powerful? Isn't your wind-breaking sword very powerful? Weren't you very arrogant just now? Try to be more arrogant. Why don't you fight back? Why don't you speak? Speak. While beating Fengming, Lin Su shouted coldly. In the whole space, except for the sound of the punches hitting the flesh and the scattered energy, there was only Lin Su's angry shout. As for Fengming, Fengming's feeling now can only be described in 4 words, he is about to collapse. Every time Lin Su's attack hit him, a strange force surged into his body, blasting away the true essence he had just condensed. Now, let alone fighting back, he couldn't even speak a word. Listening to Lin Su's repeated "speak" and "why don't you speak," Feng Ming burst into tears and was about to cry. "Did you give me a chance to speak? How can I speak when you treat me like a sandbag? This is too much bullying." Everyone outside the water mirror was stunned to see Feng Ming in the water mirror being beaten by Lin Su without any ability to fight back. They felt the hair on their backs stand up. The sound of beating leather and the terrifying punch made people feel a dull pain between their legs. Too violent. This is simply a human-shaped barbarian dragon. Poor Feng Ming. He can't even admit defeat. Lin Su wants to beat Feng Ming to death. What Lin Su? That's Lord Daizi. You dare to call him by his name? Don't want to live? Be careful that he will beat you like this later. He shouldn't be able to hear it. If everyone was just shocked, then Sidu Jian was horrified at this moment. Looking at the miserable appearance of Feng Ming in the water mirror, Sidu Jian felt that all the bones in his body seemed to ache slightly. If he had drawn the lot before, he would be beaten by Lin Su now. That feeling, I can't even imagine it. Fortunately. See, I said Lindsay is fine, but that guy is unlucky. In the Daizizi camp, Zhang Yunfan glanced at the Daizizi guards with a look of horror and smiled, then his eyes returned to the water mirror, thinking to himself, wow, Lindsay is still as violent as ever. Brother Feng, I hope you can end your pain and reincarnate as soon as possible. In the water mirror, Feng Ming had been beaten by Lin Su so hard that his whole body was swollen and almost unrecognizable. The meridians in his body had been destroyed by the strong fist force, and this body was most likely useless. What's more terrifying is that the fist force that invaded his body is spreading along the broken meridians to his Dantian, and it is about to reach the location of the Yuanying. If the Yuanying is damaged, he may not even have the chance to seize the body. If this continues, it's over. No, I can't die. Feng Ming was scared by Lin Su's beating. His eyes, which had been beaten to a point where only a slit was left, flashed a fierce look. He gritted his teeth fiercely, well, or perhaps it should be said that he made a gritted teeth action, because his teeth had been beaten out by Lin Su. A huge force suddenly rushed out from his Dantian, blocking Lin Su's fist and knocking Lin Su back several steps. Self-destruction of meridians. Feeling the recoil from the fist, Lin Su understood at once that the opponent was shaking him away with the power of the self-destruction of meridians. I admit, defeat. The self-destruction of meridians barely shook Lin Su away, and Feng Ming spoke with great difficulty. As soon as the word lose was uttered, a terrifying force suddenly rushed into his body, penetrating his Dantian, and Feng Ming's eyeballs suddenly bulged out, stretching his swollen eyelids. Opposite Feng Ming, Lin Su put his right index finger and middle finger together and pointed directly at Feng Ming. There was still a faint trace of powerful energy on his fingertips, which was the gesture of Xianxia finger. "You are so cruel," an almost inaudible voice sounded, and the light in Feng Ming's eyes dimmed, and he quickly weathered and shattered from his Dantian into a ball of flying ash. Dead. To pieces. Not even the Yuanying could escape this. What a cruel method, not even giving the other party a chance to admit defeat. Hiss. Looking at the scene of Feng Ming's body and soul being annihilated in the water mirror, and then looking at the indifferent expression of Lin Su who was teleported afterwards, except for Zhang Yunfan and the other two, the faces of the guards of the three palaces of Tiandi Dao were full of fear, and the shock, fear in their eyes when they looked at Lin Su were extremely complicated. This guy is not simple, he is ruthless and decisive. The Emperor Wang Sheng and the Taoist Situ Nan looked at each other and saw the same meaning in each other's eyes. "Jian, you have saved your life this time." Suddenly, Situ Nan looked back at Situ Jian who was in a daze and said softly. Situ Jian swallowed hard, and suddenly felt fortunate in his heart. Fortunately, it was not the lot I drew just now, otherwise. For some reason, Situnan did not mock Wang Shen, but just looked at Wang Shen with a sneer on his face, and then cast his eyes on Lin Su in the underworld palace camp, with a strange smile on his lips. Wang Shen clenched his fists, his heart was burning with anger. Although his relationship with Feng Ming was not as close as that between Situnan and Situjian, he was also his most respected subordinate. Otherwise, how could he teach him the secret technique of spiritual blood explosion? But the other party was beaten to death by Lin Su in front of him, and even his nascent soul could not escape. Damn it! Lin Su naturally felt the cold and resentful eyes of the Emperor Wang Shen, but he didn't care. Not to mention that Feng Ming was just a guard of his Emperor Wang Shen, he would kill him even if he was the Emperor. He wants my life, so do I have to show mercy? With a sneer in his heart, Lin Su raised his head and gave a look to the Emperor Wang Shen. The meaning was very clear. If you don't accept it, come over, I will take it. Looking for death, feeling Lin Su's provocation, Wang Shen's murderous intent was boiling up, and he wanted to kill Lin Su directly, but this idea could only be thought of. Not to mention that the Emperor and the Taoist were right next to him, even if they were not, Wang Shen would not dare to openly attack Lin Su. The other party's status as a child of the earth was there, and the person standing behind him was the Taoist master, so Wang Shen had no choice but to be cautious. Boy, let you be proud for a while, and then the three children of the heaven and earth will fight and deal with you. Feng Ming was killed by Lin Su, and Lin Su naturally won the challenge. The qualification for the Taoist tower was firmly in his pocket, and he just had to watch the show quietly.